What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode, another week of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about, there's two videos we're watching today, two reaction videos we're watching. We're watching a pretty new content creator. His name is Twisty Shape. He talks about 100 hours in Dune Awakening and then stop being fun. And I started watching this. I watched the first couple of minutes of it, and I was like, you know what? This is actually a good conversation to have, because there's times you play a video game and then all of a sudden it just, you love it, and then all of a sudden it just dies, right? So we're going to have a conversation. We're going to watch this video, and we'll react to that and give you my thoughts and stuff. Then we also have a video from Laura Fryer, who says the future of Xbox came out about 2 days ago. So we're going to watch that as well. And then we have Randy Pitchford makes people mad again by warning that Borderlands 4 will take even longer to get deep discount than Borderlands 3. The best thing for 2K games for Borderlands is that Randy Pitchford just stops talking. Okay, it's because the way he says it, and maybe we're all just misstruing it, right? So, but we'll talk about that and anything else that pops up during the stream. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Eclipse? Roic, Sarge, Dolphin, Big Bad Mo, El Dente. What's going on? Who am I missing? Ron Slusher, good morning. All right, so don't forget, guys, last week on Thursday, Wednesday night, we had a new episode of Chatting With. That's up on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. You can also watch the past broadcast right here. We talked to the real-life fake wizard, so make sure you go check out that episode. And then we also have the new episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. Episode 446, that's also on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and you can also watch the past broadcast here as well. I got exciting stuff coming up, and hopefully in the next couple days I can announce. So we'll talk about that, when that happens. But how the hell is everyone doing? I had a meeting this morning. I thought I was going to be late, so I always put when I'm going to be late. But even when I try to be late, I can't be late. I'm on time. So we're getting the house. We're adding an addition to the house. So we had to meet with a contractor this morning to talk about what's going to get done, what needs to get done. So that's what was happening, why I was going to be late, but then I wasn't late. So, all right. Sarge says, Randy Pitchfield, the beta man, the myth, the legend. All right, so let's go. Oh, God, summer construction. Yeah, construction will happen probably within the next 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I believe. So we'll see what happens there. All right, so let's start off with Randy Pitchford. Randy Pitchford makes people mad again by warning that Borderlands 4 will take even longer to get deep discount than Borderlands 3 did. So what's going on, Hilly? So this is to kind of just drive it home, right? Not only did they save you, did Randy Pitchford save you from an $80 video game, and they made it a $70 video game, but now he's telling you, look, no matter what you do, okay, it's going to be a while before it goes on discount. And my thing to you is, I waited 5 years. I can wait longer. It doesn't matter to me. But let's see what he has to say here. Hilly, with the 18 months, he says, boom. Thank you very much for the 18-month support. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate you. There's your applause. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get Randy Pitchford. He says Borderlands 3 is a 95% off on Steam right now. That's just to sucker you in. Okay, look, I know people like video games. I know you love it. I played it. We played it on Game Pass. I enjoyed Borderlands 3. But these sales that happen are to bring you in because obviously Borderlands 4 is coming out. So they're trying to push Borderlands 3 on you because if you play Borderlands 3 and they get you at a discount, then maybe you'll play the full price version of Borderlands 4 when it comes off. Right? So Borderlands 3 is 95% off on Steam right now, dropping it's just $3. Its lowest price ever. Just putting it out there. Why are video games $80? Why are video games $80? Why are video games $100? Why are video games $120? When just 5 years later, they're selling it for $3? You make that call. I don't know. The lowest price ever is one of the best deals in 2025 Steam Summer Sale, and somehow, okay, screamingly good price has turned into yet another opportunity for Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford to annoy Borderlands fans on social media. Okay, it says, quote, sales like this of Borderlands 3 showing up on console subscription programs took over 5 years from the game's launch to happen. Pitchford wrote on X, take advantage when it's here. Okay, good advice. Borderlands 3 has been around for since 2019, so there's a good chance that you've already got it. But if you don't, hey, $3. Thank you, Randy, for bringing this to attention. Okay, but he could have not helped himself. He continued and set expectations and will be even longer before a kind of thing happens the next cycle of Borderlands 4. He says sales like this of Borderlands 3 showing up on console subscription programs took over 5 years from the game's launch to happen. Take advantage of this here. And expectations, it's also even longer before the kind of thing happens in the next cycle with Borderlands 4. See, they already know that Borderlands 4 is not going on sale for at least 5 years. Okay, you see that? Okay, and the Galaxy ain't gonna loot itself. Pick up Borderlands 3 now for 95% off. Right? To be fair, I think that's pretty, quite possibly accurate. Right? Unless Borderlands 4 bombs for some reason. At this point, it seems unlikely, right? A lot of people like it, unless you're really upset at the compass or the sniper rifles. It seems like this game is the perfect game, according to a lot of people, huh? So PC gamer Tyler Wilde spent a few hours playing a pre-release build in May and found it a non-transformative but solidly consistent, which is also, I think, is what a lot of Borderlands fans want. At the same time, while it's probably too much to describe Pitchford's message as gently implied threat, there's a lot of residual sensitivity over Borderlands 4's pricing. Okay, so Pitchford's prior social hoedown, in which he nearly floated a separate potential $80 cost for the game, the ultimately came to nothing. But not before the week throwing hands with randos over it. So I suspect that some of them will be reflecting some of the responses of Pitchford's more recent messages, sparked not by the likelihood of Borderlands 4 won't see any sort of deep discount for years to come, but because Randy will not stop picking the scab. He says, you and your team make some of my favorite games, but you also make really hard for me to like you. When you spit crap out like this, it's like you never learn, Tanzer said. Another person said, I swear it's absolutely terrible at marketing. He says, why did they need to say this like this? He just doesn't understand, right? That's the problem. Randy doesn't understand that the best sailing for them is just not Randy talking, okay? It says, you really do like throwing water on your own fire, Randy. It says, well, I suggest I think you just need to work on your wording, boss, because it spirals down from there as threads from X tend to a few messages of support of Pitchford's urge to, quote, help. A few are outraged, absurd, or abuse some expressed doubt, okay, that Borderlands 4 to get deep sale treatment, and of course all the sort of individual requests and demands of the game. There's also complaints about both Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 4 being spyware, sensational allegations spurred by the recent changes of Take-Two's Interactive's EULA, and spawned a review bombing campaign across the entire Borderlands series earlier this month, to claims no doubt also helped prompt some negativity and reactions to Pitchford's messages. So to Pitchford's credit, determined of equal measures, he's posting through it cheerfully. Hopefully the message is good and bad, in some cases clarify his position, and also just messing with people a bit. Here, you want to know something? I bet, I don't know, but he says that the discount's not going to happen even further, right? So it's going to take 4 to 5 years before a discount happens. But we actually determine that, right? We determine that. And you know how we determine that? You don't buy the game day one. If you don't buy the game day one, and you don't buy it week one, and you don't buy it month one, well, guess what? You, the gamer, will get this game at a discounted rate much faster than you think you would. First, they would start with a 10% discount. Then they would turn it down to about a 25 or 20% discount. Then if it still wasn't selling, they would go down to a 25 to 30% discount. And miraculously, you would then be playing normal prices for what the game should have been at $60, okay? But the industry wants to tell you that, look, this game is so good, and we don't have any plans to lower this price. I mean, even though Borderlands 3 was been on sale over the 5 years, it's not going to be $3 like this for at least 5 years. So pick up Borderlands 4 now is what they're doing. And the funny part is, again, you don't get to decide that. The market gets to decide that. So if people decide to buy Borderlands 4, which I think they will, I don't think there's a lot wrong with Borderlands 4 that we saw, okay? But Randy Pitchford is the worst part of Gearbox. He is the worst person for Take-Two's marketing about this game. He can't get out of his own way. Just let the game sell. I think he's a little nervous because of what happened with the movie, right? The movie is still held in regards as one of the worst films ever. It made $18 million at the box office. Don't forget that, okay? And guess what? It left theaters really quick. It came to the streaming services really quick. So when he says that they're not going on deep discount, this is like hold my beer. The fans of video games tell you when your game goes on sale or when it doesn't go on sale. Because if they're not interested in your game, you will lower that price real fast. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what I do here. Check out some of our other videos. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, right? Obviously, I'm not asking for a free game. I'll pay for my games. But it's just something about Randy Pitchford, man. And it's not just this one incident. It's everything that came before it. And then what he says now, okay, it just irks me. And I'm not the only one, right? There's a lot of people that are irked by this. And yes, I understand it's his baby. It's his thing. But just stop. Maybe have someone proofread your stuff before you say it. But again, just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, chat. Haley says, no, Randy will wait and wait some more. Once bored, we also wait more with intent, determination to wait twice as much as also I have already waited. When I become emotionally drained, I'll wait again. Exactly. We just keep waiting. Like, if this was 1985 and there was only like 10 games coming out, then I would buy a Borderlands, right? But this is 2025, and we have thousands of games that come out each month. Not year, month, okay? Between Steam and PlayStation and Xbox and EA and Ubisoft and Square Enix and Sega. Like, there's so many studios and publishers that I don't need to buy a new game. I choose to buy a new game with the money, but for most times, I'm going to buy games on discount. Mo says MFR will be discounted in a year. Yeah, but not $3 discount. That's what he's saying, I think, right? But we accept the challenge. We as consumers accept the challenge. Sarge says Brony watched Borderlands movie on YouTube the same week it came out. It was actually the same day, Sarge. It was the same day. Ron Slusher says Suicide Squad is another example of lowering your price quickly. Sarge says thousands, literally thousands. Yeah, thousands of them. What's going on, Roadkill? Travis says, I mean, some people already bought the Super Deluxe Edition. Yeah, that's great. That's great. What happens at the end of the day, Travis, is if they don't sell enough copies, they have to go on discount, right? And the reason they sell higher price copies is for the people that want to give them more money, because that is also to help them. If someone pays $150, that's 2 copies of the game being sold. The $150 collector's edition with no game, that's also 2 copies of the game sold. That counts as copies sold, right? For them, at least on the back end, not for when they tell you. But that covers the price of 2 games. So those people that buy, just like whales that buy microtransactions for $1,000, that helps, right? So a small percent helps them make 80% of their profit. So the more people that buy the deluxe edition, the collector's edition, all of those things, that's to help them go, oh, look, we've made this much money already. But the masses look at this and go, no, I'll wait. But that's how Borderlands has been entirely. They've always waited, right? The last major Borderlands that sold very well was Borderlands 2. Pre-sequel didn't sell very well. Tiny Tina's Wonderland didn't sell very well, right? Borderlands 3 sold, but sold better than those last two that I said, but didn't sell like Borderlands 2. And Borderlands 2 actually didn't sell that well when it came out, but sold much better at a later date. Travis says, my point is, Eclipse says, as said, some people will buy it. And I'm saying a lot of people don't care about what he says. I know people who gives a shit if it looks good. Right, but at the end of the day, again, if the budget of the game is this high and it doesn't hit that budget, that goes on discount. And if they don't sell a certain amount before it needs to sell, guess what happens? People lose their job. We've already seen that multiple times just this last week, let alone over the years. Sarge says sales dictate sales. Travis says, I agree. My sole point was that gamers care, but the average casual gamer buys what they want, cares less what some idiot online is saying. But I do agree, Randy needs to leave it alone. More people that matter, because the casuals also don't buy games day one, right? Casuals don't buy games day one. Casuals buy games when they're like, I'm bored. I got money in my pocket. Oh, someone said this game's good. They go to the store. They look at it. Those are casual gamers. The hardcore gamers, Travis, are the people that come to podcasts like this, come to morning shows, have conversations, read the news, buy the games day one. Those people are the ones that pay attention to this stuff. That's the majority of the people that buy games day one. Eclipse says, person that buying the Super Deluxe Edition is not the casual. I can tell you that. Exactly right. Right? The casual is the person like, oh, I picked it up. I saw it. What is this game? I don't know what this is. That's a casual. And that's not hitting on casuals. I'm just saying a casual person's not, you're right, they're not following the news, but they're also not picking the game up day one. I mean, I'm getting standard, but that's me. But you're also not a casual, Travis. You can admit that, right? You're not a casual gamer. You literally buy a new game, I don't know, 3-4 a month. The casual gamer's buying 3 to 4 games a year. Roic says everyone is praising it now, but it has a bad launch list done before it starts. Outriders was the same way. The demo was amazing, but then at release, it had major issues. I don't think Borderlands. See, I don't think Borderlands is the same as all the other games, Roic, where we have issues like with Dragon Age Veilguard or broken buggy games. I think Borderlands is fine, right? I just don't think people are interested in Borderlands. I don't. Right? Let's look it up, right? Borderlands 4 trailer. Let me look it up. Let's see. The Borderlands 4 trailer. 8 days, 160,000. That's the story trailer. Okay. Let me go to Borderlands, the actual thing itself. So we got Borderlands PAX East panel, 31,000, right? We got the Border Cast live stream, 66,000. Story trailer, 160,000 in 8 days. Gameplay deep dive, 297,000. That doesn't mean 300,000 people are going to buy the game right away, but that's people that are interested, right? But if you look at the gameplay trailer that happened 1 month ago, 492,000 people, official gameplay trailer. And then the deep dive only About 200,000 people less. This is almost 500,000 people that watched the gameplay trailer. And then only 300,000 people just a couple days later, okay, with the deep dive, if not the same day, is 297,000. The official first look, right? The official first look, 1.4 million 6 months ago. 1.4. So look at this, right? From 10 months ago, we had 3.5 million people that watched the Borderlands 4 official teaser trailer. 4 months later, 6 months ago, okay, 1.4 million people watched the official first look of the trailer. Then 5 months later from that, Borderlands 4 gameplay trailer first look, 492,000. So just think about that for a second. 3.5 million people watched the official release 10 months ago. 9 months later, 492,000 people watched the first gameplay trailer. 200,000 people less watched the gameplay deep dive. Then it goes from the deep dive, okay, the deep dive to the story trailer for 160,000. So they're losing half every single time, and that tells me there's not a lot of interest in Borderlands 4. Kylo says, yeah, until the update, there's a spyware. I'm not touching another Borderlands game. That's another part of the entire conversation. I know they said it in the actual article for a bit. That spyware thing, okay, where they spy on your stuff. They want to know all your information. I know a lot of people on console don't care. They're like, it doesn't matter to me. But people on PC, they're like, I ain't buying this. I ain't buying this, right? And less people, okay, are talking about it or watching it. Travis says, I mean, it's possible after all there are a lot of people who know Square Enix said that they were going to back and turn-based, where they also were good for you, but you also destroyed my trust, and I don't care. Water Bear said, what's going on, Water? Says, after the shitty movie, people definitely lost interest in anything Borderlands, and Randy comments don't help. I, for one, am far from a casual, and I'm waiting for Borderlands 4 to go on sale. Sarge says, bro, if that number isn't over 1 million views, they are not selling that many copies. They will sell, but it's not the number they need. Right. Who knows what the number is, right? I'm not going to say that Borderlands 4 is going to be a bomb or not a success. I'm just saying from when they showed 10 months ago to the people that are interested now, doesn't seem like a lot. They went from 3.5 million to 160,000 8 days ago. Right? That's been out for 8 days, and 160,000 people are looking for the story trailer. Cisco says, hey, Randy's comments get more engagement than the actual game. It's very true. It's very true. Kyle says, I love going back to play 2 and 3, and I uninstall them. Look, me and Sarge love 2. We liked 1. We loved 2, right? I played the pre-sequel. It was okay. I played Wonderlands. It was okay. Okay. I played the DLCs. We just played 3, the story campaign when it came to Game Pass. Didn't purchase it. Didn't spend 1 cent on it. At one point, me and Sarge both looked at it and said, it's $7. $7. And we both sat there and went, no, I'm good. I'm good. Now, I'm just talking for myself. But if I'm not pulling the trigger on $7 and now it's $3, I'm still not pulling the trigger. I just don't care. Because it's not even about, is the game good? Is the game bad? Do I want to buy it? Right? I already bought it. Or sorry, not bought it, but I already played it. So do I want to pick it up for $3? No, I'm good. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I'm moving on to the next thing. Whatever that next thing is, I'm moving on. Right? The next game that comes out, whatever it is, I could put 5 hours into it. I could put 100 hours into it. I could put 1,000 hours into it. It's just what it is. Rorik says, is there somewhere we can see the pre-order numbers? No, they don't share those numbers. They will never share those numbers unless there was a crap ton of people pre-ordering that game. Gaming Fire says, I think W does well for sales. I think W. I don't know what you're saying there, Gaming Fire. Sarge says Borderlands 2 plus all DLC is amazing. Mo says, I'm going to keep saying it. Randy is the reason Gearbox isn't owned by Xbox. I think a lot of people are Randy is, look, when Randy was showing the behind the scenes of the movie, I don't even think Hollywood liked Randy. They're like, this guy's weird. Eclipse says, yeah, JK does not say anything bad. She says what everyone else is thinking. There's a difference. Waterbear says they show the wish list numbers sometimes, especially when there's a lot of interest. Right, if there's a lot of interest. Otherwise, they keep it to themselves. Gaming Fire says Borderlands 1 and 2 is meh, but Borderlands 3 is my game of the year. See, this is why we don't take Dustin or David or Gaming Fire seriously in any way capacity. In any capacity. He literally just says the weirdest shit just so I can say stuff like this. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, this is just for personalities. James Thomas says Borderlands 2 overall. Borderlands 2 was great. Borderlands 2 was great. Yeah, two is not even close. 2 is the best. Best one of the best characters, hands down. Handsome Jack. The writing in that game is much better. We could go into why the games nowadays don't sell well because of the writing, right? Same with movies. The people that are making the writing for these games are just not good writers. They're writing for a crowd that just doesn't give a shit. No way, Travis. The prequel's the worst one. The pre-sequel is the worst one. It doesn't even fit. It doesn't fit in the game itself. The pre-sequel comes after those, and it's still worse than 1. 1's better than the pre-sequel. Here, let's see what we can find here. Let's see. Here's the thing. It says Borderlands franchise has sold nearly 93 million copies since its debut in 2009. Borderlands 2 remains the best-selling title with over 30 million units sold. Borderlands 3, despite mixed reviews, described as 2K's fastest-selling title with over 22 million sold. They don't even bring up the pre-sequels or the... Let's see if I can find... Let's see if we can find it on a different site. Yeah, they don't give. That's how bad the pre-sequel is. Okay. Borderlands 1, obviously the 6 million plus. It says 6 million plus. They don't tell you that most of those sales came in after the fact because that Borderlands was almost like a cult classic. Borderlands came out, didn't really sell well, and then people started playing it and said this is a good game, and they bought it on discount, right? This is where I entered the Borderlands 1 and 2. I bought both of them for a combined total, I think, of $30. Okay. Pre-sequel, they don't even tell the sales. That's how bad the pre-sequel is. Okay. Think about that. Borderlands pre-sequel is less than 6 million. So, again, Travis saying that it's the worst one, number 1, is just not true. The pre-sequel is the worst one. Borderlands 3 sold 22 million. 22 million. But how many were sold at $7 a piece? No, we haven't watched any videos yet, Thomas. We haven't watched any videos yet. $93 million. I mean, I guess we could figure it out, right? How does that work? 6 million. 30 and 22 is 52 plus 6 is 58. So where's the other 40 million coming from? Where are they adding that from? How do you have 93 million units sold, but yet you only have 6 plus 30 plus 22, but have no sales number for pre-sequel? How's that work? Disagree. One is the worst in how it plays. Well, okay. Well, then you would be okay saying that Mass Effect 1 is the worst one, right? Right? Mass Effect 1 would be the worst one because of how it plays, right? Yeah, how it plays. Not story-wise, but how it plays. Yeah, the trust me bro on sales is always weird to me. We have 93 million. We have numbers for 3 of the 4 games. We don't have the numbers for pre-sequel, but there's 40 million games missing. It's like, okay, cool. I guess they're taking in effect the other games like Tales from the Borderlands and the mobile and then everything else because it says in the franchise. So Roic says, heck no, pre-sequel is the worst one thanks to the oxygen mechanic. Yeah, it was the worst. It was terrible. Laura Fryer pissed a lot of Xbox fans off this weekend. Well, I guess I don't know. We haven't watched the video yet, El Nini. We'll check it out in a second. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mo, about the Tales of the Borderland. Like they're taking everything, the franchise, right? There was a mobile game of Borderlands as well. People don't remember. I'm sure that sold a lot. I'm being facetious there. All right. We're not watching Laura Fryer just yet. We're going to watch this other video that is from Twisted Shape. It's a content creator that has 645 subscribers. Okay. He had a video about Dune Awakening. I'm playing Dune Awakening. I saw this title. He said 100 hours in Dune, 100 hours in Dune Awakening, and it stopped being fun. So at that point, right now I'm at 90 hours. I'm at 90 hours in the thing. Okay. I fell off just a little bit because last weekend I played Rematch. I went back to Marvel Rivals. I started playing. I'm still playing Dune Awakening, but I'm not putting the 2 weeks like I did for the first 2 weeks. Now I know where I'm standing, right? I know how I feel, but I wanted to hear what this person that played 100 hours in Dune and all of a sudden it stopped being fun, right? So when I saw this title, I didn't watch the whole video. I only watched the first couple minutes. Okay. I was like, this would be a good topic to talk about because video games in general, right? People say, oh, this game's dead or that game's dead or no one plays this game anymore. I don't like this game, but they have 400 hours into it. Okay. It's never made sense to me where someone says I have 400 hours in a game and they don't like it. Okay. And they start judging the game and like, well, I would have played it longer, but it just wasn't fun anymore. And it's like, you put 400 hours into a game, right? So I'm not saying Twisted Shape is saying this. What I'm saying is just people in general, when they put hundreds of hours into a game and then say, well, it's just not fun. And I try to break that down because a casual gamer plays 2 hours a week. That would take them literally a full year to get 100 hours into that one game. All right. So let's watch this. Description's in the link is in the description below. Okay, 100 hours in Dune Awakening stopped being fun. So never seen this guy's content before. I only watched like the first couple minutes. So
I hate live service games.
I can agree, but at the same time, I also like live service games. Right? I do. I can't say I hate them. Okay. I don't like where they've gone with live service games, but live service games go way back. Like an MMO is a live service game where they're constantly updating and putting DLC and stuff like that. Like, I like that, but they've taken that and they've turned it into something else for the other live service games. Now, Dune Awakening is a live service game, so you can make the argument that the game that comes out, 8 months from now when they add something it's never a complete game.
They're awful. I have never found myself excited for one since they became a thing. But what I have gotten myself excited for time and time again is the IPs that they attach themselves to like leeches. It is, in my opinion, one of the most damaging gaming trends that we have seen in a while. Probably since loot boxes, if I'm honest. And it is squeezing every...
So we talk about the IPs, right? When they take certain IPs and ruin them. Like, for instance, Transformers Reactivate was coming out. That's a live service game that was going to be with Transformers. Then you have the live service game with Marvel. You have the live service game with Dune.
Every last drop of goodwill from audiences just to make a few extra bucks, and it's starting to crack. If you haven't figured it out by now, we're talking about one of the biggest live service games to have come out, recently hitting 1 million players, and of course, it is... Before we begin, there are two things that I want to get off my chest.
That's true, Roic. There is a lot of microtransaction live service games, right? It's like a live service game, but disguised as a store, really.
First off, I'm not a games critic.
Reactivate was canceled. What we're saying, Thomas, is that he said that companies just take IPs and attach themselves into a live service game. I was just giving you an example of Transformers was another one that was going to be a live service game.
I just love talking about video games and being a nerd. And secondly, Dune Awakening, contrary to everything I'm about to say, is actually a really good game. Until it isn't. I have a...
Now, this is interesting, right? Just take out Dune Awakening for a second, right? That right there is what piqued me. I was like, you know what? I could talk about this on the stream, okay? Take that to any game. No Man's Sky is a really good game until it isn't, right? Call of Duty is a good game until it isn't, right? Now, obviously, it's different for every single person, right? Everyone's going to hit a wall, per se, in that video game. Where a game comes out, you start playing that game, you absolutely love that game. No matter what game it is, just insert your own favorite title here, okay? And then all of a sudden, you're playing it, and then you're like, oh. And something happens. Something happens where all of a sudden, you just don't care anymore. You're like, I'm done. I've done my time. Then it goes into the factor of, well, let's say that's 50 hours or 100 hours or 1,000 hours, okay? Then you start talking bad about the game going, well, I would have played longer, but this was the problem. But you didn't know about that problem until 100 hours in.
Around 100 hours in Dune Awakening, and like a curse that has lifted, I suddenly have absolutely no interest in playing the game from out of nowhere.
Now, we've all been here. There's games I've played for 5 hours that I'm like, oh, this game's great. And then all of a sudden I never go back to it. Why? It's a great game, but why don't I go back to it? Because something else has brought my attention. Something else has grabbed my attention, whatever that is. So it doesn't really matter if it's 5 hours or 10 hours or 100 hours or 1,000 hours. There's something else that comes out or you just don't care anymore. You ever watch a complete TV show or a movie, a series? You're like, man, I love this series. And then all of a sudden you're like, you say you love it, and then 2 episodes later you're like, I don't like where it goes. And then you're like, I've lost interest, right? It's a very, very tricky balance of content, of piece of entertainment.
How can I invest 100 hours into a game and then out of nowhere, like a switch has flipped, suddenly have zero interest in it? Well, I hope you're paying attention because I'm gonna tell you. But before all that, it wouldn't be YouTube if we didn't have a good old plug, so you better lube up. If you enjoy any part of the content today, make sure to like and subscribe and help my teeny channel grow. You can also join me over on Twitch, where I play most of the games I talk about. There'll be a link in the description below. Thank you very much. I want to make something loud and clear before we get into the meat of this video, and it's mostly so I don't get bullshit comments from anime avatar accounts on my YouTube about how I should do nasty things to myself. So,
yeah, I hate when that animated, profile pics do that.
Let's make it crystal clear. Dune Awakening is the foundation of what could be a phenomenal game.
And I'm going to take that, what you're saying there, right? What you're saying there. What's his name again? I'm sorry. I missed it. Twisty, right? What Twisty's saying here. You could take that game, and I'm going to go back to No Man's Sky or Sea of Thieves or any type of game where that's a live service game that you're constantly, right? Sea of Thieves was good when it came out. Sea of Thieves now is a fantastic game for what it is as a live service. No Man's Sky was good when it came out, but it's a much better game now 8 years later. Now, it's easy to say, well, it's so good now. But at the same time, right, Dune Awakening is just yet another one of those games coming in that is just good now, right? You're having fun. You like it. You love it, whatever. But down the road, hopefully if it lasts as long as No Man's Sky or lasts as long as one of those other games, that it'll be great because they're fixing it as they go, which is just that type of game.
It brought my friends together after a long hiatus of not playing games with one another, and I will forever be thankful for Dune Awakening and Funcom for doing that and giving me the opportunity to have friends around building a big-ass base. But at the moment, this game is the Titanic, and that iceberg ain't moving. When people have asked me what I thought about Dune Awakening, I explain it like this. Dune is bowling, but with the guide rails up. You're still...
I see what he's saying.
Technically bowling, but you really don't have to try anymore. It is the definition of safe. In Doom, to fail, you have to fuck up.
You gotta hit quicksand like I did, or get eaten by the worm. Like you have to truly mess up to ruin the game for yourself, right? It is pretty easy. It's just like as long as I do these things and complete the missions or follow the story, it is what it is. It's literally on rails type of stuff.
So massively that the world basically eats you. You have to get your vehicle wedged between rock and a hard place.
Or quicksand. Not that I've done that twice.
And a third thing, because you have so catastrophically screwed up. And that is the only way that you can ever fail. For instance, let's take a look at the vehicles. You can slam your ornithopter into a wall, drive your buggy off 100...
I agree with 100% what he's about to say. The vehicles, I feel like they should get... They do get damaged as they go, right? You get shot, you're using it, the treads, your wings, and you have to fix them. That stuff is cool. But if you slam it to the ground like people were doing in the end game type of stuff, where you're slamming into other copters and stuff like that, and you're doing no damage to your stuff, they have to adjust that. They have to adjust it where, and I said this with Sarge on GXG, where battle has to feel like you're losing something. Like if I'm in a real battle, I'm in a real tank, right? Like, or my body is out there and I get shot, I'm out, right? I'm done. My tank blows up, it's gone. Okay, I'm shit out of luck. In this, it's like something happens, you can land and put your vehicle in your pocket, right? You can run into a mountain and it doesn't do any kind of damage to your vehicles. It kind of breaks that reality. It kind of breaks where it should be a survival. Like if I fuck up, I fuck up, right? If I hit a wall and break my wing and my copter falls, then it should be broke and I have to fix that shit.
100-foot cliff, or wrap your sandbike around the nearest point of interest, and all that'll happen is you'll just bounce off.
Yep.
They've removed any actual ability to fail, and in my opinion, failure is one of the things that makes gaming so much fun.
That's why I like SnowRunners. That's why I like Roadcraft, right? People make fun of me when I play that game, but those games respect what the game is, right? There's no fuel mechanic in Roadcraft, and they're actually putting that in as an update, okay? But SnowRunners to me has it means something. Like if I take the truck and I crash my truck and the truck is destroyed, yeah, I can bring it back to base, but I've lost that process. I've lost the whole from point A to point B. I got to start over, right? Or I bring another truck over and then I lift it back up or fuel it up or do something. There's some meaning there. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, what was that for? There's really no point.
No.
All right.
Yeah, he's showing Helldivers, right? He threw a grenade, and all of a sudden now it hit the guy. You got to run. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh, it attached to
He's
your
done
drone.
because his drone is literally following that guy, so he's dead.
Oh my gosh!
If we compare the safety belt design of Dune to something like Scum, which also released recently, you can see a clear difference between the two.
Well, hold up now. I would love to know that if he's playing Scum. I don't know if he's playing Scum, but I wonder if he's playing Scum and it launched after Dune, okay? And now that his friends are playing Dune, if he's losing interest in this and moving over to that. I would love to know that.
Which also released recently, you can see a clear difference between the two. Now I'm going to ignore everything else in Scum apart from the vehicles. You can find them littered around the map and they're really important in terms of getting around, looting, etc. And as you get them, you'll get braver and braver in terms of driving them. However, eventually, the world will check your shit. And basically, you'll be driving as fast as you like to, and you'll lose control, and your asshole will tighten so hard you could shit diamonds. Now, sometimes, you'll save it. You'll laugh, you giggle, you talk to your squad mates, and you tell them how much you nearly just browned your pants. And other times, you'll flip that bad boy so hard, there's no chance of recovering it. And then you
Right. Now, my example was SnowRunners and stuff like that, right? He's doing other ones.
have to have a small mental breakdown as you try and figure out how the hell you're going to get all of the loot back to base and explain to your teammates how you wrote off the only vehicle you've got.
Right. So now that makes content itself, right? So now you broke your vehicle, so now you have to fix your vehicle. So in Dune Awakening, my exact example here is when I was in the upper part of the map and we were up high above the basin, right, in Haga Basin, and I had to go around, but I didn't want to go around, so I just drove my vehicle, my sand bike, off the cliff because there's no vehicle damage, so you could just fall. And when you land, then that just saved me a ton of time, which took content away from me, right? Which took content away. Now, you can look at it and go, is the person going to leave because they have to drive all the way around? They could be a pain in the ass. Or does that give more content and give more credence of why you should keep your vehicle in good shape? You know what I mean? There's got to be a reason. I've always say this. If you put a store in the game, there has to be a reason to use the store. If I use this thing, there has to be a reason to use the store.
Now, nothing like this ever happens in Dune. Nothing unexpected ever comes your way.
Because it's a bare desert and it's just the other raiders that are out there, other factions, or the worm.
The entire gameplay loop is you just paint by numbers until you literally can't anymore. Another unfortunate aspect of Dune's design is that the survival element of the game really isn't there.
Nope.
You can probably pinpoint the exact moment where survival comes to an end and it
100%. Once water, you need water. Once you can do water at a reasonable rate, which is basically the blood packs, because you could do the blood packs, and if you don't want to do the blood packs, you could, and I'm talking early game, right? You could just farm the moisture off the things, off the flowers.
It just turns to thriving in the desert with your mates. The tutorial will guide you to where you can make your first ever sand bike.
You could run out of gas here too, Roic. Like there's fuel and stuff in here, and durability on your tracks and your vehicle. Like over time, it does get damaged, but not to a point where you feel like, oh my god, I could run out of gas. Like you just bring another gas tank with you. You know what I mean? It's super easy to make gas and whatnot.
And this is an amazing moment. You feel badass. And then it will task you to cross the largest section of barren desert that you can see. And you know the worm is out there. You've been shown the worm. Prior to this point, you've had to run from rock to rock, squeaky bum cheek every time. And now you have to cross this giant space with nothing but you and this little sand bike to keep.
This is a good moment. This is a good moment in the game, right? 90 hours in now, I got my ornithopter, and now when I need to go somewhere, I just fly there, and it's taking away all of my urgency of trying to run away from the worm.
Keep you safe. It is pulse pounding. It is stressful. your brow sweats and you get excited because you can see the worm. You can see that little bar at the bottom of your screen. Everything starts kicking off. The adrenaline starts kicking in. And then you make it. And there's a sigh of relief. And you're like,
yeah,
fuck yes, I've done it, boys. And you'll remember this point. You'll remember this specific
he's spot on. He's spot on with all of this that he's saying right now about Dune Awakening.
feeling, because it is probably the first and last time you're generally ever going to feel this way in this game. Because after that, the worm doesn't really become a threat. There's no wide open areas unless you get stuck in quicksand and abysmally fuck it up. And this becomes even less so once you get the buggy, and then even less so
when you get the ornithopter.
Once you get the ornithopter, because then you just flit around, going all the places you need to go without even touching.
Right. Now, it's cool flying around the ornithopter, but it does feel like you're cheesing it. It does feel like the thing that could kill you at any moment while you're trying to cross this barren desert into these certain places, now you can just fly there.
In the sand. So the sandworm is pointless. In hindsight, looking back at my original video about Dune, what I thought was a blessing is actually kind of a curse. Vehicles make the map so small that exploration goes out the window. And let's not even talk about...
But hold on a second. To get this ornithopter, I know people can do it faster with a group of people, but it literally took me 80 hours solo, grinding, to get the ornithopter. 80 hours in the game to get to this point. Not everyone is going to take 80 hours to get there, but even if it takes you 30, 40 hours, right? That's 40 hours in a video game. This is where I don't understand a lot of people where they look at this and say, I put 100 hours in, but I'm not having fun. I put 300 hours in, but I'm not having fun. Like you did what you had to do to get to that point. That's it, right? You've got to the apex of what you were trying to get to. Now you set your other goal or whatever you want to do. Water Bear says that's because this game was meant to be a mixed MMO/survival. They kept some of both, but they also choose to call it a survival game overall. There's some of the MMO elements. That also is why this is not as harsh as a real survival game. No, I get it, but fundamentally, because they changed it from an MMO to a survival game, there's things like this that are now poking their head out as probably problems.
Anti-gravity belts. In one of the streams I did, I made a point to try and climb to the highest point in the map that I could see. I had a great time doing it. Took me a little while to get there, but we finally did it and I felt awesome. And now I'm able to revisit that place without even trying, just by double...
All right, I'm gonna kind of put this in. So if you ever do something in your actual life, right? Let's say you shot a gun for the first time, or you went skiing for the first time, or you're mountain climbing for the first time. The first time you go and do something, you're like, yes, this is awesome. Man, I've never climbed that mountain before. I've never hiked this trail before. I never biked, a marathon before. You feel accomplished, right? But then the next time you do that thing, you don't feel as accomplished because you've done it before. You've strived to your limit, and now you try to push yourself even more, right? So he's explaining right now that he climbed all the way to the top of the highest point of the map, and it felt awesome. But now, I'm assuming because of the anti-gravity belt and stuff like that, it's super easy to get up there, and now it's not even a challenge.
Double tapping space and watching my character hover up like he's Aladdin and his magic carpet. And maybe it's just me, but I enjoyed the climbing aspect of it. I enjoyed having to watch my stamina drain and think where I could quickly duck into to hide.
Right.
But now I just Mary Poppins my ass up there and never have to really worry about things.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
My first 30, 40, maybe even 50 hours were great fun. I was enjoying time with my friends.
I agree everything what you're saying right now.
Enjoying getting the base put together. I was enjoying exploring and seeing how things fit, and the tech tree upgrades were wonderful to unlock. I was taking my time. I was trying to 100% the map, but
that's what I'm doing.
Is where everything started to kind of fall apart. And this is where the big question came into play, because I finished an entire area and then was like, what was the point? And
the point was to finish the area, right? The point of playing Skyrim and beating the story and then going from point A to point B to C to D to E. Once you get there, you've done your stuff and you complete the game, you're like, what's the point? The point was to play the game. It's a game at the end of the day. It's a game. The point of it was to give you entertainment for the time that you're playing the game. That's the point, right? There's no other point than that. You're playing a video game. A video game is to get you enjoyment, happy, sad, confused, whatever it is. You're playing the game. Like, you've put the time in. That's it. That is the point. The point is to be entertained for the hours that you put into the actual game. And it seemed like it fulfilled that point up until 60 hours, 70 hours.
And that is the biggest question that I've come away with when it comes to Dune and why I've fallen out of love with it immediately. What's the point? I don't mean that in all aspects of the game. I wanted to make a fantastic base because I found that entertaining.
So
I wanted to do the quests because the story was interesting.
Correct.
I wanted to get the next tech tree because I wanted to see what I would unlock. The problem is, when I stopped to take in my achievements, I was met with the same question. Why was I doing this?
Because you were enjoying it. You were enjoying it until you weren't anymore. Right? Like, I'm running, right? I'm doing a marathon. I'm loving it. I hit the marathon, right? I complete the marathon, but I still want to run. I do one more mile, and I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing this? Why am I running extra when I've already hit the marathon point? Okay? Why am I continuously running? Well, you're running because, one, maybe you enjoy running, but then you stop enjoying it because you're fucking tired and you don't want to run anymore. So you take a break. You're like, you know what? I completed my goal and I don't want to do it anymore. That's it. Right? Let me go to chat real fast. So it says, isn't the purpose of a vehicle like the ornithopter the ability to, like, anti-gravity, whatever, to complete the game when you're at the end? So the wall you hit is the end? Right. It's just, that's it. You got to that point. Now it's easier. But now I think he's asking for more, right? I think that's what, we haven't watched the rest of the video, but I'm assuming he's asking, once I'm here, why? Right? I've asked this before in games like Destiny, Warframe, a lot of live service games. Like, I got the biggest, baddest weapon. Now what? Right? I got the biggest, baddest weapon, but I'm not going to continue doing the same thing I've been doing because if I had the biggest, baddest weapon, there's nothing to kill. So you got to give me something else. And that's the problem, I think, with live service is that if you're a person that's a casual, right, and that's not a sly at people, but if you're a person that's playing a game at a normal pace, let's say, where you put 100 hours in 6 months or maybe a year into one game, those people are never going to have issues because by the time they get to that point, there's already new content happening for them. But for a gamer that's liking a game, that's infatuated with that whatever game it is, you're never going to have enough content for them. You're never going to have enough content for them. That content, you're always going to butt up against the end of it and go, what now? And then you have to wait. You have to wait for them to add something, fix something, DLC, something. And then, so you eat everything you have. Then you're like, well, I'm kind of full. I'm upset. You did it to yourself. And then you wait. And then 6 months from now, they do an update. And then you grind it again. And then you're like, but then what? That's the problem, right? The problem is not the game. The problem is not the content. The problem is they've made such a good game that you love playing it, and you've put in 50, 100, 200, 500,000 hours into that game, and you're upset because you've put too much time in, and they can't keep up with your time.
And sadly, I got two very disappointing answers. The first of which was story and progression. The story, as it stands, isn't finished. Funcom have said there will...
You knew that going in. You knew that going into the actual game.
Will be more story beats to come in the future in later updates, meaning that for now, all we're left is a rather bad cinematic. And okay, cool. We've got more stuff to unlock, so that's fine, right? Well, not really. There are very distinct points throughout the entire game where each mechanic just kind of falls away a bit at a time. The survival stopped being a point relatively early. Exploration.
Relatively early, meaning about 30 hours in.
Is next on the chopping block, and that kind of stops once you get the ornithopter and just hippity hop to wherever you want to go. And sadly, technology falls away around the 5th tier aluminium. At this point, you're just making the same things, but slightly
Very true. Making the same things, just more productive.
bigger with a few extra numbers attached, and most of the time they might even not be worth it. The sandbike, for instance, becomes completely obsolete once you've got the buggy or the ornithopter, and there are 9 versions of this thing. None of them look visually different at all. The only thing that changes is the numbers go up. The only saving grace of the sandbike is it's just fun as hell to drive. And I think that is a big takeaway when it comes to the game is, yeah, it's kind of fun in some aspects, but when you look at the big picture, you're like, what is this fun leading to? What's the next thing? Where am I going with this?
That's another point right there, Water, right? Water says, if I play a game for 100 hours, I've got my entertainment worth. Name something else where you can spend 100 hours on for 50 or 70 bucks and satisfy with that time. Like, think about that, right? I mean, I know you're thinking about it, right? If I go to the movies and I spend 30 bucks, well, 15 bucks, 2 hours, right? It's 2 hours for $15. Right, if I watch 2 movies, that's $30. So 4 movies gives me the same price as a video game, and it only gets me 8 hours. 8 hours. Meanwhile, I paid 50 bucks for this game, and it got me over 100 hours of the game. That's a hell of a difference. It's a hell of a difference.
Also, unrelated, but kind of related, the Vulcan Cannon, this big minigun
There's people that go to a concert, spend $500 for a ticket. That's for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
that you can get in the game. I have never, in my entire gaming career, been disappointed by a minigun until Dune Awakening. What the fuck?
Wait, hold on. What is this now?
Thing. Where am I going with this? Also, unrelated, but kind of related, the Vulcan Cannon, this big minigun that you can get in the game, I have never, in my entire gaming career, been disappointed by a minigun until Dune Awakening. What the fuck is that thing? And with those issues,
They can fix that. I don't know what he's talking about because I haven't got one myself. But I'm assuming it's underwhelming and underpowered, I would assume. I think I've seen it, but that's something they can just fix, you know?
issues put out of the way, I still soldiered on. I still got to the end game. And as I said in my previous video, this is where I was worried. Unfortunately,
We were worried about the end game before the game came out. Because of all the other games I've played in my been alive for 47, been playing games since I was, for the last 44 years of my life, of the 47 I've been on planet Earth, okay? Me and Sarge said, I don't know about the end game. We always talk about end game for a lot of these games. End game is always a thing. It's always a thing they market. It's always a thing they talk about, but it's never a thing that they've actually mastered. I have plenty of videos and talks about what they should do for end game type of content, but they never do it. We're always in the pyramid, right? We're always in the pyramid. You have so much to do down here and so little to do up here. The more you play, the less you can do. Dune Awakening is yet another casualty of war in this paradigm.
and I'm so sad about this, I was right to be worried. When we come to the end game, we arrive at one of the biggest, if not the biggest issue with Dune
It's actually longer than that, Sarge. It was over a year ago.
Awakening. On paper and in principle, it's everything that I could ever want. An MMO battlefield with stakes and skills and characters doing different
See, I didn't get this game for endgame. When they said it was single player and I could play the entire thing by myself, that's what sold me. I wasn't sold on the endgame stuff. Now, when they started talking about the endgame stuff, I was like, okay, cool. But that's not what sold me. What sold me is the Dune universe and the single player stuff that you could do with it, and you could play co-op with friends.
things, from flying ornithopters to manning ground turrets to having to try and steal spice from under people's noses. And the videos from the trailer make it look sick. But what we got was the Jurassic Park opening with a kazoo instead. At the time of making this video, the way it plays out is everybody and their mom jumps into a scout ornithopter and then just drills people with missiles because they don't weigh much And apparently you've got an asshole like a clown's pocket where you're just popping them things up like suppositories. Now, let me be clear. Funcom have heard these complaints, and they are listening, which is a hell of a thing for developers these days. They are working diligently to fix it and improve the systems that so many people like me are moaning about. My only problem is, with all the AMAs and developer statements, etc., I still feel like I have more questions than answers, and I'm still concerned about where they're going to be going with this. And while they're doing this, I'll be honest, I'm happy to let them cook, because there's every chance that I'll go back to the game and enjoy myself.
There's a 100% chance you're going to go back. You have 100 hours in the game, Twisty. There's a 100% chance you're going to go back and you're going to play the game for another 20, 30, 40 hours if they update it with some content. 100%, because you're already sold. You're already sold.
I will say it once more for those in the back. Dune Awakening is a good game at first. It's just too safe. It's still raw. Gordon Ramsay would be smashing the shit out of this if it was served in his restaurant.
It's raw, Melissa!
After 100 hours of Dune, I'm still out of spice. I had fun. I started playing games with friends again, and that means a lot to me. So thank you, Dune, for that. And maybe I'll revisit the game again with friends when it's actually finished. I do have to disclose...
It'll never be finished. It'll never be finished. Because they're going to constantly add stuff. And now this is the problem where you're going to come back, you're going to do the exact same thing you're doing right now, where you put 30, 40, 50 hours in the game, and then you're going to be like, all right, I'll put it down. But that's okay. So yeah, there's never going to be a solution for this, right? There's always going to be a thing where all of a sudden you like eating apples, and then you get tired of eating apples, so you switch to pears. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. You're going to overindulge in that thing and then get tired of that thing, and then you're going to change the way you do stuff or the games you play. Maybe you take one game out of it. Let's say you play all survival games. You're like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of survival games. I'm going to go play first-person shooter games. And you play all first-person shooter games, and you're like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I put 1,000 hours into 6 games across the board for first-person shooter games. I'm just tired of first-person shooter games. This will never, ever end, okay? This will never, ever end. This will always be a problem.
That for the streams of it, I was sponsored by Dune. They gave me a free code to play it, and I bought another one to give away to friends. So
wait a minute. So they sponsored you. Congratulations, by the way. They sponsored you. They gave you a free code. You bought another one to give away to somebody else, but you didn't even pay for the game, and you have over 100 hours in the game. Come on. Come on. You had all of that good, like, you had such a good time with your friends, building bases, exploring, doing all these things for 100 hours. For $0.
Huge and wonderful love to everyone at Funcom. I wish you the best of support and luck and power when it comes to making that game what you want it to be. I was so excited for it, and unfortunately, I'm just left wanting a hell of a lot more. Nerds, we've made it to the end. If you're still here, let me know by leaving spice down in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video, even though it's basically just been me ranting about how disappointed I am about something I was very excited for. If you've enjoyed...
But I don't even think you're disappointed. You're disappointed that you caught up to what they've worked on so far. I'm not giving shit to Twisty here. It's just I don't understand the mentality of just people in general when you put tens of hundreds of hours into something and you're disappointed. Am I wrong on this? Like, I get it. Like, you could be with someone for your entire life and all of a sudden something happens and you lose interest and you get divorced and you're like, but there's good moments there. There's bad moments there. There's things there. This is a complete opposite thing. This is just a piece of entertainment that you paid $50. $50. You put 100 hours into it. Within that $50, you put 100 of hours into this game. and you're disappointed, don't you think you would be disappointed hour 5? Hour 10? Why would you keep going and then say, I'm disappointed? You knew the game wasn't going to be done for story-wise before the game even launched. I don't know. Good video. He hit a lot of good points on, I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. Go give it a like or a dislike, whatever. It was a good video. He's got 645 subscribers. Good luck to him. I'm sure he'll pass me like everyone else does. Okay. It was a good video. Description's in the link down below. I just don't get it, chat. I don't understand how someone could put... When I don't like something or I'm disappointed in something, I just stop playing the game way early on. Let me see what you guys are going. Thomas and Travis are going back and forth. Good stuff. Is he still sponsored? I don't think he's still sponsored. Is he still sponsored? It doesn't say sponsored in the stream. So, Roic says, once Human is free to play, you can totally ignore all the microtransactions and have several hundreds of hours in it. Sarge says, I told you, no standing power. 6 months, the game is the game. Well, the game is the game up as of right now, Sarge. But they're constantly going to keep adding more content to it. So think of it as like a single-player game with co-op and look, the best way I can describe it is Fallout 76. Not in the production. Obviously, it's a much better game at launch than Fallout 76 was. But Fallout 76 is you play it, right? You play it until you beat the story. And then you can continue living in the world if you want to. But at the end of the day, you're coming back for when more content comes in the actual game. Roic says there's always going to be a honeymoon phase with anything you do. 100%. From the car you buy, to the bike you buy, to the food you eat. Like, it's the best lasagna I've ever had. You go back and have lasagna, and you're like, it's okay lasagna. I thought it was better the first time, right? Like you had no expectations, right? Your expectations were exceeded, and now the time you come back, you have expectations now, and now they're below your expectations. The first time you go somewhere, you're like, this is amazing. Did you ever go to the Bahamas? You've been to the Bahamas 10 times, you're like, yeah, it's the Bahamas. What's going on, Worlds? He says, you don't spend hours playing something if you dislike it. You may dislike certain aspects of it, but there's obviously something there that you like to keep you interested. 100%. I think that he brought up Scum, and I don't know, maybe Twisty will see this down the road. Okay, so Twisty, if you ever see this, let me know if you started playing Scum with your friends while you were playing Dune Awakening. Once you were high level, 90 hours in, you started playing Scum, and you're enjoying Scum now. Because that would just be the new thing that you're enjoying, because you played so many hours of the Dune, right? So I would like to know that. If he's not playing Scum at all, okay, I want to know what game he is playing that took him away from him enjoying Dune, because there is something. There's always something. Something needs to replace the thing that you were enjoying. Eclipse says they don't want people in this forever. They want people to come back. I mean, there also will be people always on it, but they'll also be keep supporting this game in 5 years at least, if not longer. Yeah, well, the hardcore people in the end game are the people that are doing the land rads and the factions and stuff like that. Okay? But even at that point, I don't know if they want you on 10 hours a day doing that. They're like resets a week, do your things that you have to do, come on a couple times throughout the week, and then, do the land rad type of stuff. It's not a 24/7 nonstop fest. But you can't tell people not to do that. They're going to do that. Still sponsored as in sponsored previously. Gotcha. They want the people who watch the movies and then read the books. Brain says the falling back on older games because I can't take the half-ass games coming out. Piecemealing content afterwards. only still don't have a complete game at the end. I hear you, Brainchild, right? Like that's my problem, right? With a lot of these games that are live service games, we want them to be good, right? Look, perfect example. Marvel's Avengers when it came out. Okay? I love that game. I know it's a shit game. I know people gave it shit. But what it could have been and what we thought it was going to be every time they did an update, and we hung on every word of the developers are like, oh yeah, we're going to add this and we're going to do this and this is what we're going to do. But they didn't do any of that, right? They didn't do any of that because they just were pulling us through with the IP, which he said in the very beginning, these companies are taking these IPs and using them with these live service games. Marvel's Avengers is a perfect example of a live service game, big IP, and just waiting for the game to be finished, waiting for the game to be done, right? What really broke it for me was Destiny, not Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers was the catalyst to Destiny, because Destiny, while Destiny was here during Destiny 1, I said I would love a game like this. If it was Star Wars, Marvel, or Transformers is what I said. Okay? And down the road, now Marvel had the game that just, we saw what Destiny and Bungie did. And I was just like, yeah, if you give me a good IP like this, I would play it all the time. But that game ruined live service games for me. I played Division longer than I played Destiny at this point. I don't know if that's true. Between Division 1 and Division 2, they're close. I think I have like 3,200 hours in Destiny 1 and 2. I want to say Division's got to be about 2,000, almost 3,000 hours as well. They're pretty close. World says this game might be kind of like Grounded. You could play a bunch after the update, put it down, and come back once they add more. That's a great example, Worlds. Grounded is another. These survival games like this, 100%. 100%. El Nini says, I enjoyed Avengers. I saw the vision. Yeah, we all saw the vision. But they didn't see the vision. They didn't see the vision, El Nini. Titan says, piecemeal, drip feed, interesting. All food related. Yeah, but that's what it is. Look, when people make examples of food analogies, is because everyone can understand it. That's the only reason people use analogies like this, right? Otherwise, it'd be like, I don't know if you guys know this. It's like when you pick up a chicken and as a baby chicken, see if it's like, you wouldn't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. You have to use an example and an analogy of something that everyone could understand, right? James Thomas says, Grounded was also made with the community in mind. Took a lot of feedback. Hopefully, Dune devs do the same. Well, we'll see what happens with Grounded 2, Thomas, because we had a conversation about Grounded 1 and Grounded 2. Grounded 2 is coming out. It's on a bigger map, but they're taking stuff away that was in Grounded 1 to put out of Grounded 2 and then slowly put it back in later. But Grounded 1 was built over 4 years with the community, and Grounded 2 is starting back where? Right? Like, if Grounded 1 started at 0 and got to 90, and then Grounded 2 comes out, are they starting back at 0, or are they starting at like 50 and then working their way back up? You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with Grounded 2 when it comes out later next month, July, end of July. Waterbear says they saw the money they believed they were going to make. That's right. And they didn't. Have you gone back to Pal World? I haven't gone back to Pal World. It's been over a year. We played it for like the first month and a half when the game came out, and I haven't played it since. We got about, I want to say, 60 hours, 50, 60 hours in the game. All right. The next video is Laura Fryer. We like watching Laura Fryer's videos. She's talking about the future of Xbox, okay? I would love to have a conversation with Laura because she's been in the industry, but I don't think you can get a hold of her. She doesn't have an email or anything like that. So she had watched one of our other videos in the past. So if she happens to see this one again, Laura, please contact me through the email on my channel or through Twitter or in the chat. Right? Just I would love to have a conversation with you. It won't be like a hard-hitting questions. It's more of a get your insight. Get to why are you doing YouTube and stuff like that, right? And also your experience with the companies that you've been doing in these videos, which is great. So if you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Mo says, have you gone back to the First Descendant? I downloaded it again. I logged in, and I went, I don't want to play this. Right? That's exactly what I did. In that, I went in the tower, or whatever the community hub is, right? I was at the tower. I walked around. I went, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So I haven't gone back. Water Bear says, it's just so many good games coming out. You got to get updated, but you really don't have time for the older backlog games. Yeah, that's majorly my main problem, Water. There's just so many games. It doesn't matter if the game is fantastic. It's like another game gets my interest, and then I go play that game. Did she comment on the video or something? She did in the months and months ago. She literally commented on the video. Yeah. El Nini says, Laura is the industry veteran. She would be an amazing guest. Yeah, I would love to talk to her. Would love to talk to her. Because I wouldn't talk to her in a way, El Nini, as like I'm not doing hard-hitting questions. It's more of a, like, I worked in the film industry, right? I would love to go back and forth to compare the two, where she worked in the industry and what they do and the stuff that I talk about, because I do have friends in the business, okay? It'd be very interesting to see, like, the inner workings of these companies. And she doesn't work for them anymore, you know? Be amazing to talk to her. Also, she's good points in the video, but also right now I disagree with her conclusion. All right, well, I don't know what you're talking about, so we'll watch the video and see. All right, here we go.
If you watch the latest Xbox showcase, you can see that Xbox has finally landed on a strategy, a plan for the future of Xbox.
Can I just say that they finally landed on a plan for Xbox, and I saw that plan before they saw that plan? I've been talking about that plan for the last, 5 years, 6 years, before COVID.
It's the Xbox Anywhere plan. They're betting the entire business on Game Pass and leaving the hardware innovation to their partners at Asus. This wasn't surprising. Hardware is expensive to make. It's much easier to slap an Xbox sticker on an existing piece of hardware and call it a day. It requires very little...
Oh, you can't see the video. Thank you. We'll start over. Thank you very much. I'm watching it. Who cares about you guys? I'm watching it.
If you watch the latest Xbox showcase, you can see that Xbox has finally landed on a strategy, a plan for the future of Xbox. It's the Xbox Anywhere plan. They're betting the entire business on Game Pass and leaving the hardware innovation to their partners at Asus. This wasn't surprising. Hardware is expensive to make.
I like how people are saying now wasn't surprising. Nobody said this before. Nobody said this before. Everyone said that they're going to go make their own stuff, which they are. But I said before they do that, they're going to team up with someone that's already in the space. How other people didn't see that? And I'm not going up against Laura here. Just people in general, like, nobody saw this coming.
It's much easier to slap an Xbox sticker on an existing piece of hardware and call it a day. It requires very little effort in comparison. And if you don't care about console sales or exclusive games anymore, why?
Well, she's talking about the business. If you don't care about console sales. If you're a customer, why do I care about console sales? I don't give a shit. I don't care about... I don't care how many games sell millions and billions of copies. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. If I enjoy a product, I'm going to buy a product.
Bother innovating in hardware. I'll admit, it's a great message for gamers. Who doesn't want to play their games with their family and friends on any device and any platform? But that's all it is. It's marketing. It's style, not
100%. It's just marketing.
substance. Just because you say something, it doesn't mean that you can do it. And it also doesn't mean that you won't change your mind. After all, Xbox has been pivoting a lot lately.
Yep, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Well, it's pretty standard.
Remember when they talked about the importance of high-quality games, but then shut down the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush? What about Game Pass?
It doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense how you could say that out loud and say, we want to make great games. And then the game at that time was the best game, was this game. Shadow Drop did very well, 4 million copies or 4 million players, whatever. Okay? And then they let go of the studio. It doesn't make sense. No one can defend it in my eyes. It's just stupid.
Pass. One of the defining features was day one games, and now there are tiers that don't offer the feature at all. Last year, Phil expressed how $70 pricing could feel manipulative to gamers, and now he's on board with charging $80 for Outer Worlds 2.
Exactly. Right? We're not going to do, it can feel manipulative, and then all of a sudden come back out with Outer Worlds 2 as an $80 game. I mean, I know why they're doing it. They're trying to go with the industry so people get Game Pass. Right? Make the problem, sell the solution. The problem is $80 video games. The solution is Game Pass.
The cost may be high.
They were closed first, Thomas, and then they were sold. Let's not glaze over this like, oh yeah, no, they didn't. No, they closed the studio. Then they were like, oh no, let's sell the studio. And that was like a month and a half, 2 months later. They 100% closed the studio down. And then we're like, oh no, we're selling the studio.
One day, I know you'll be mine.
From my perspective, the Xbox strategy has been chaotic, so it's hard to say exactly what they'll do next. But assuming they stick with Xbox Anywhere, it's really...
Now, I'm not saying glazing like you're right. Glazing over, not glazing like, oh, I'm speaking positive about them. That's not what I'm saying, Thomas. Right? Take the modern talk out of it. Glazing over that they closed the studio, not glazing Xbox.
really left me wondering, will the latest announcement drive more gamers to Game Pass? Will they be able to convince gamers that the Xbox ROG Ally is a good idea? And what is going to happen with the hardware and software teams that aren't delivering right now in the Xbox team? Are they going to get caught up in the layoffs that Microsoft just announced are coming? For context, let's talk about why Xbox started and how it played into the strength.
World says closed down, received massive backlash, decided to sell. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. They're like, how the fuck are you closing the studio down that had... Like, it won rewards, and they're like, yeah, we need to make more games like this. Oh, by the way, we're closing that studio down. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Of Microsoft. I was working in Microsoft Game Studios on Crimson Skies when the console talks started. At that point, Microsoft dominated the office, but Sony owned the living room and was taking a serious bite out of the PC gaming market. When Xbox launched, there were at least 125 million PlayStations available, and there was a reason for that.
Think about that. Everyone always says that Xbox lost the war. Well, they came into the battle midway. Nintendo, PlayStation, Sega was just going out the door, right? Xbox came in, and PlayStation already had 120 million units out there. Nintendo already had 100 million units out there for that cycle of games. Right, of consoles. They came in new kids on the block. So they've always been chasing to try to become the second or third place.
Gamers could just plug in the PlayStation and the games worked. They didn't have to worry about why that piece of software
Right.
on their Windows system didn't play nice with the other piece of software and why their video card wasn't working or that they needed an updated driver. It was simple.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
Of course, at that time, game developers actually listened to their customers and they would follow them. With all of these gamers
That's right, because we made the money for them. But they don't do that anymore because now there's so many customers. They don't need all of the customers. They just need a percentage of customers.
going to PlayStation, game developers started trying to climb the hill of learning the PlayStation. And if they could do that, then they didn't have to worry after they made their game about testing all of those hardware and software compatibility issues that plagued the Windows ecosystem. It just worked. Microsoft could see this threat, so they jumped in and did what Microsoft does best. They took over an existing market by
Mo, I don't care what you're screaming in chat. The reason, however they want to spin it, is if they said that originally, then why didn't they say it was up for sale originally instead of saying closing? Right? Mo says, just heads up, massive backlash has nothing to do with them selling Crafton. So they wanted them, so they rather take the money. Then why announce that they're closing the studio? Why announce they're closing the studio? Just stay quiet. Just stay quiet until we're looking for people to buy it. Get out of here with that shit.
by leveraging their strengths. They already had a fine-tuned system of execution at scale. They knew how to ship product and they knew how to scale their system across a large team. Luckily, Microsoft had already built a game developer foundation with Microsoft Windows and DirectX. The message for Xbox was simple. With a hard drive, you could build your game once on Xbox or Windows and it would just work. Of course, the problem was Windows was bloated. So without telling
Windows is shit. Can we just say that? Windows is shit. Everybody knows. It's a meme. It's a meme. Windows is a meme. Okay? Nobody likes Windows. Windows, even Microsoft hates Windows. Okay? But that was their biggest moneymaker.
Bill Gates, the Xbox team removed the bloat and made a light version to power the box.
I start to try to argue for this, why we can't have the normal version of Windows. Bill doesn't want any of it. He doesn't want to hear it. He yells at me, shuts me down.
We did everything we could to make the
Yeah, Nini. No one can explain it to me. No one can explain it to me as well.
platform as attractive for game developers as possible. We
We need to make more games like this. Game won awards. Game was fantastic. They're like, let's get rid of this. Instead of keeping the group and giving them a separate game, right? Giving them a different game to work on. They're like, no, let's cancel this. And let's take shitty people from this other company and let's make a separate Halo Studios.
even hired 50 game makers into the Xbox Advanced Technology Group to support the game developers. The ATG team collectively had made hundreds of games.
Microsoft is like Google, okay? The difference is that Mo can't see it because he's a huge fan, okay? Microsoft is like Google. They make stuff all the time, and they cancel shit all the time. They waste millions and billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, okay, to make a product, and it fails, and they throw it out the door. Why? Because it cut their losses. But to say that we got to make more games like this and then sell this is retarded.
So we were great at translating game developer concerns into changes at Microsoft. We did whatever it took, and this focus on developers, it was a game changer because we attacked one of Sony's biggest weaknesses. They did not have great developer tools or support or documentation.
Games sell consoles, and so in order to sell consoles, we had to win the hearts and minds of the developers.
I could see that Xbox had a
So just take that out of there, because I've said this for over 6 years, okay? Games sell consoles. Games sell whatever, okay? Wherever the game is, if there's a game right now on mobile phone, you're like, oh, that looks pretty cool. You're going to buy it on a mobile phone. If you could play that on your PC, you'll play it on the PC. If there's a game on PC, you'll buy a PC because you want to play the game on the PC, right? That sells everything. Now just take out console and just say games sell platforms, right? That's what it's been doing, right? People are playing it on different platforms. Doesn't matter if it's PC, doesn't matter if it's a console, doesn't matter if it's a mobile phone, doesn't matter if it's a television set, doesn't matter, right? Google Stadia came out. That was a platform. There was no console. There was a platform. Nobody was buying it or doing it because they already own the games, and why would they buy them again for a separate platform when they already own the games on that on other platforms?
A chance of succeeding. We were listening to developers, and we were building exclusive, high-quality first-party titles. We knew that platform adoption requires proof. People don't buy your new hardware if there's no reason to. Definitely a problem for the new Xbox handheld. And it worked. By 2012, Xbox was a multi-billion-dollar business, and they were a true player in the living room. Fast forward, and here we are. It's 1 year from the 25th anniversary of the Xbox, and it looks like they're abandoning pretty much everything that made the Xbox brand great in the first place. Let's start with the handheld announcement. I've seen mixed reactions, and that has me really puzzled because I don't see any reason why anyone would buy this piece of hardware.
I agree, Laura. I don't understand why you would buy this, right? Because you're grabbing one, collectors will grab it. Hardcore gamers will pick it up just because they're like, whatever. But if I'm already a person right now, let's say I bought a Steam Deck last year. Let's say I bought a PC 2 years ago. Let's say I have a PlayStation or an Xbox right now, okay? Why would I need to buy this year? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Because what this is doing, you have right now, right? Right now, I can play my Xbox games through the cloud, on Game Pass, on my mobile phone. I don't need this device. I can also, if I'm on a Steam Deck, I can play the games from Steam on the go, okay? I can also play my Xbox or my PlayStation or my Nintendo. I have different things. Now we're going to the next generation, and they're like, you know what? I don't feel like buying a PlayStation, an Xbox, a Nintendo, a PC. My PC's getting old. My other devices, I'm getting a new phone. You know what? Maybe I pick up this ROG Ally because bing, bada, boom, for $800, $900, instead of buying a PC, a console, I'm getting one thing, and then I can get all the stuff that I want. But if I already have that stuff and I don't want to upgrade my Steam Deck or my console or my PC, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this because this is a weird little state of when it's coming out. Okay? One, Asus doesn't have the pull power of PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox. Xbox is putting their name on the actual device, but right now, the masses don't need a device like this. The masses already have the devices that they can play all these things on. So it's like, who needs this? Who needs this? 1 million people? 1.5 million people?
Just like the original Xbox, it's built on Windows, a slimmed-down version of Windows, but it's still Windows. So this isn't something new. And let me just admit my bias here. I don't like Windows. When I left...
She worked at there and she doesn't like Windows. Nobody likes Windows. Nobody likes Windows. I like my Windows in my house. I don't like the software of Windows.
Microsoft, I installed Linux on all of my personal systems, and I never looked back. Of course, as many pointed out after PewDiePie did the same thing, Windows is still needed for some games, so I created a dual boot machine for those cases. Incidentally, this line, the freedom of Windows, freedom? Windows 11 is forcing you to have separate accounts so they can track everything you do.
Yep.
Doesn't feel very free. And they are leaving a lot of their Windows 10 users behind because they require a chip to be installed on the motherboard.
That's right. Forcing you to get the next Windows
In order for you to upgrade. Microsoft, you do you, but freedom is literally the last thing I would use to describe the Windows operating system. So given the Xbox was already built on Windows, I don't see that that's really a big selling point. But that's okay, because it's really about the games. Will it be Halo? Will it be the new Gears? Is there going to be a game so compelling that it drives me to adopt this new handheld? Well, here's the problem. Xbox doesn't do exclusives anymore. Even if Xbox delivers a crazy, great game, Xbox Anywhere means that I can play that game on any platform.
Right.
I can play it on Xbox or PC.
Yep.
I may even be able to play it on the PS5 or the Switch. So why would I buy the ROG Ally?
The ROG Ally is going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a hard sell, right? Convenience is a thing, but again, everyone already has convenience. They already have one of the consoles, if not multiple of the consoles. They already have a PC. They already have a handheld device, okay? And if you don't have a handheld device, but you already have a PC and you already have a console, you still don't know if you want that because you still have a mobile phone, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can look at this. The ROG Ally, again, we're not even talking about pricing here. If it's priced really well, more people would buy it, but still not many people are buying it.
And of course, delivering a killer game in a reasonable time frame isn't something Xbox is particularly good at right now. During the showcase, there were several games still in development that weren't even mentioned, like State of Decay 3, Perfect
Where's that at?
Dark, and Fable. And many of these games have been in development over 5 years. There is only one reason these games are behind. It's because Xbox has lost their culture of shipping at scale. They don't have the people or the process in place that can ship. And it's a shame because they used to do better than anyone in the business. Recently, Microsoft announced that they were going to be doing layoffs. A lot of people are speculating that it's going to be the sales division, but I'm not so sure. I think that if I was working on one of the games that didn't make the showcase, or if I was in the Xbox hardware team, I would be worried.
Well, yeah, because the Xbox hardware team, that's a place you could cut real fast, right? But here we go again. They could let them go. Again, speculating. We don't know who's getting let go or what. But the hardware team is one because they're not making hardware. And if they are making hardware, they don't have to make the hardware like ramping up and stuff until down the road, right? So a year or two. So they can get rid of everyone, get rid of the fat, continue with this Asus. If it works out well, if it sells well, then they don't hire those people back. And if it doesn't sell, and if it doesn't sell well, well, then they can pivot and bring people back to start making the handheld. But again, does the handheld sell if they make their own handheld? I don't know.
So there isn't going to be any killer game that drives me to buy this handheld. And that's okay, right? Because Xbox Anywhere means that I'm going to be able to play all my Xbox games and PC games on my handheld. And that right there could be a big selling point. Except it looks like that might not be the case. There's been some confusion.
Disingenuous take? Mine or hers?
On this point, but from what I can tell, Pure Xbox is correct. You won't be able to play native Xbox games, only native PC games. This isn't great, in my opinion. If Xbox Anywhere means I should be able to play all my games on the handheld device, then darn it, I want to play all of my games, not just my PC.
We said that when they said that, I was like, yeah, they got to watch out the way they market it. All my games, that's a lot. Mo says that they're making a console under the TV until they don't. Well, right. And right now they're not because they're still selling the one they have. So for 2 years, if they don't have to make another console, they would just get rid of the hardware company, like the hardware people, right? Until they decide they want to make another hardware. Waterbear says, so the handheld is another dumb move. You focus on Xbox Anywhere, right? But you want people to buy a $700 to $800 handheld. Well, they don't want you to buy the $700, $800 handheld, Water. Xbox is teaming up with Asus. Asus wants you to buy it. Microsoft is taking that out of the court, right? They just want you to get that so you can buy the games on another platform. So games that showed 2 years ago, they're confirmed for next year, Doom and Gloom. Where did I say? You're saying disingenuous take for her, right? All I said was, where's that for State of Decay 3? How is that Okay, I was like, because I didn't say anything as far as, right? Well, she's saying Doom and Gloom because it's been what, 5 years for some of these things, and they haven't said anything about it. So that could be doom and gloom, 100%. And she didn't say doom and gloom. She's just saying, like, what's happening with that right here. Let's go back.
But I'm not so sure. Killer game in a reasonable time frame isn't something Xbox is particularly good at right now. During the showcase, there were several games still in development that weren't even mentioned, like State
of Decay was shown like 3-4 years ago. Fable was shown 5 years ago.
Decay 3, Perfect Dark, and Fable. And many of these games have been in development over 5 years. There is only one reason these games are behind. It's because Xbox has lost their culture of shipping at scale.
And she's not wrong there. That's not doom and gloom. The reason that they're not doing this stuff is because of that. They've changed their completely model. So you don't want to take all your stuff and throw it out the door right away. You're like, what are we doing? What's our model? Our model's selling Game Pass and play anywhere now. Okay, well, we got to hold stuff back until we know what the hell we're doing. All right, now we know what we're doing. All right, so now we got our brand. We're putting our name on mobile devices. We're putting our name on headset devices. We're making consoles. We're on Samsung TVs. We're on LG TVs. We're on mobile phones. Okay, next year, if State of Decay comes out, or Perfect Dark comes out, or Fable comes out, then those are the big three, because they have, 3 to 4 games a year that come out that are big, but still they haven't said anything about them. But they showed them 5 years ago.
They don't have the people or the process in place that can ship, and it's a shame because they used to do better than anyone in the business. Recently, Microsoft announced that they were going to be doing layoffs. A lot of people are speculating that it's going to be the sales division, but I'm not so sure. I think that if I was working on one of the games that didn't make the showcase, or if I was in the Xbox hardware team, I would be worried. So there isn't going to be any killer game that drives me to buy this handheld. And
she's taking you're taking it, Thomas, though it's implied, not already stated. She's talking from experience. She's worked for Microsoft, she's worked for other companies. She's telling you that if they're not talking about these things, okay, that they're not doing this in scale. She's talking from experience. She's not saying this is it. This is it. But she's saying this is probably because of these things, because this is what's happened in the past.
And that's okay, right? Because Xbox Anywhere means that I'm going to be able to play all my Xbox games and PC games on my handheld. And that right there could be a big selling point. Except it looks like that might not be the case. There's been some confusion on this point, but from what I can tell, pure Xbox is correct. You won't be able to play native Xbox games, only native PC games.
We don't know that yet.
It's correct. You won't be able to play native Xbox games.
No ROG Ally Xbox Ally handheld doesn't play native console games.
Only native PC games. This isn't great, in my opinion. If Xbox Anywhere means I should be able to play all my games on the handheld device, then darn it, I want to play all of my games.
She's not wrong, though, right? If that comes out and it's 100% true, which it might be, okay, then you should be able to play all your devices or all your games on all your devices, because that's what they're marketing, right? But if you're only playing the games that are only on PC, well, that's a problem.
Not just my PC games. Further on in the article, they say, let's hope we might get native console games in the future, but it's not.
But you're talking about Nintendo. She's talking about Xbox, right? Before she said what she said, Thomas, she said that Microsoft has been like this, right? They've hadn't had a good track record with stuff like this. So she's comparing apples to apples. You're comparing apples to oranges, right? You're comparing one company. She's talking about Microsoft and Microsoft itself.
Something we're expecting right now. Think of the ROG Xbox Ally as a Windows 11 gaming PC with Xbox-specific features, because that's basically what it is. If you don't have a big budget, why not just buy a PC? They're not that expensive if you build it yourself, and you'll have Windows 11, just like the handheld, and you'll be able to play all of your PC games.
Ron says 2025 Microsoft is different from 2005 Microsoft. They have changed since the last work there. You're right. They went from $1 billion company to $1 trillion company.
If you want a handheld, skip the PC and buy a Steam Deck, or some of the other handhelds with SteamOS on them. It's built on Linux, so no Windows 11, and it's cheap compared to most of the handhelds out there. And that brings up one other possibility to consider. Maybe it's price. Maybe Xbox and Asus are going to undercut the market.
I don't see that happening. I've been on record saying this. The white version 450, 500 would be a really smart decision. Lose money on it, get people in the ecosystem, get it for a loss, whatever. Okay? The black version, the ROG Ally X, is going to be up higher in price. But if they make this white version 600, 700, you are missing the boat.
By making this a very inexpensive handheld.
I'm going to rewind again for this.
Maybe it's price. Maybe Xbox and Asus are going to undercut the market by making this a very inexpensive handheld. I personally don't think this is likely to happen. Remember, the Xbox ROG Ally is essentially a reskin of an existing product. Their cheapest version of the ROG Ally is around $600.
Come on, I'll turn.
I assume that both Xbox...
Yeah, see, their cheapest version right now is $600. I don't see this thing happening, man.
Xbox and Asus don't want to lose a lot of money on this new device. Asus is great at hardware, and I'm sure they have already done the cost reduction on the handheld. You see, with hardware, the post-launch plans are almost more important than building the initial product, because in hardware, the game is price reduction of all of the parts, because then you can make a profit in years 2, 3, and 4 of your...
Problem, though, is that ROG is making the hardware, and they're not making software. So ROG has to sell these in, they have to start selling accessories. They have to start selling other things. See, the reason that PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox make the hardware and also make the game is because they can subsidize the consoles in the past with the software. Okay? But now, if ROG is the developer of the console and Microsoft is making money off of the software, well, Microsoft might be throwing money at this to help them with this, but if they lose money on these consoles, ROG has no other place to make it. They would have to sell them tens of millions, okay, to make money back off of this. Otherwise, it'll be a loss. Hence why I think the lower version, the white version, will be cheaper, lose, but the higher version basically will be making up for the white version. But they would lose their ass, and they have nowhere else to make the money from. At least off the actual hardware itself, because it's not like ROG Ally or Asus, is making video games to subsidize the price of this.
Of your console. The ROG Ally has already been through this process, so it's very unlikely the price is going to be the thing that they will be able to lower. It's unlikely to be the thing that brings gamers to buying the handheld. The Xbox Anywhere message sounds great on the surface, but in reality, it's just marketing. It's style with no substance. Unfortunately, I don't think marketing's going to be enough. There's literally no reason to buy this handheld. Obviously, as well,
there's reasons, but the people that would buy it, if we were in a shift of generations, would be interested in buying this. But because it's happening right now, we're like year 5 into PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, okay? We can now play games on television sets and mobile phones and headsets and all these other things. There's not a new swing for consoles. If this console came out 2 years from now and it was the console, that would be different. If it was the next-gen console that was doing it, not just a convenient handheld that plays all of these things on one thing, it would sell much better 2 years from now than it would be right now in the industry that we are in.
One of the founding members of the Xbox team, I'm not pleased with where things are today. I don't love watching all of the value that I helped create slowly get eroded away. I'm sad because from my perspective, it looks like Xbox has no desire or literally can't ship hardware anymore. So this partnership is about a slow exit from the hardware business completely. Personally, I think Xbox hardware is dead.
I don't think it's dead. I just don't think they're putting the masses of billions of dollars into it anymore. I think they're shifting it where it's more of a. I'm trying to think of a company like record players are still made. People still buy record players. There's different versions of the record player where you can have USBs plug in. You can record your records off onto a tape or a CD or audio into digital files. Like, they're still making record players. I don't think Microsoft exits completely from the hardware. I think they still make hardware. I think that the hardware is, if you want to buy a handheld, then you buy a handheld. If you want to buy a console, you can still buy the console. They don't care, okay? Because if you can play anywhere, but you stop making consoles yourself, that's kind of weird, right? If people want to buy an Xbox from you, let them buy an Xbox from you, okay? You got to keep your foot in there. Sell your consoles, whatever it is, if it's a handheld, if it's a full set-top box, whatever. I don't think they get rid of it completely. But majority of the market will be play your Xbox games on other platforms, any platform, whatever you want. If you choose to pick Xbox, pick Xbox. If you choose not to pick Xbox, then don't buy an Xbox. But you can still play our Xbox games over on those platforms is what they want you to do.
The plan appears to be to just drive everybody to Game Pass. And let's be clear.
Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen that coming?
It has a lot of value. I'm thinking that might be why they decided to charge $80 for Outer Worlds 2. The developers have been clear that they didn't make that decision. And here's the thing, maybe it will work. Xbox has a deep portfolio. The remake of Oblivion was obviously a huge success, and they can continue to outsource that work to external companies.
It's much cheaper to outsource it than do it yourself.
And make a lot of money releasing their older games. Older games from an era when Xbox knew how to build them. But what is the long-term plan? Where are the new hits? What will make people care about the Xbox 25 years from now? I was excited to see Clockwork Evolution in the showcase, but will something like that be enough? Do they have more? Next year marks the 25th anniversary of the Xbox, and I'm sure that they will have some big announcements and plans for honoring the milestone. Maybe next year is the year. Maybe next year is the year that the fog will clear and all of us will see the beauty in these latest announcements. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. If you
She didn't say they made the thing. Hold on.
Xbox knew how to build success, and they can continue to $80 for Outer Worlds 2. The developers have been clear that they didn't make that decision. And here's the thing, maybe it will work. Xbox has a deep portfolio. The remake of Oblivion was obviously a huge success. And
she never said that they made it. She said they have a deep portfolio and that Oblivion was a big success.
They can continue to outsource that work to
continue to outsource. You're making up your own arguments, James. You're not listening to what she's saying.
External companies and make a lot of money releasing their older games. Older games from an era when Xbox knew how to build them. But what is the long-term plan? Where are the new hits? What will make people care about the Xbox 25 years from now?
Yeah, you're not listening. You're literally making up your own arguments in her head. She said that they have a big portfolio. They outsourced it. It was successful. You're literally just making up stuff in your own head.
I was excited to see Clockwork Evolution in the showcase, but will something like that be enough? Do they have more? Next year marks the 25th anniversary of the Xbox, and I'm sure that they will have some big announcements and plans for honoring the milestone. Maybe next year is the year. Maybe next year is the year that the fog will clear and all of us will see the beauty in these latest announcements. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. If you like this video, you might be interested in another video I did called Why Xbox Lost. In it, I talk about all the cultural changes that led to what you're seeing today.
There you go. I don't think a lot of you guys are listening to what she's saying.
Why they might raise prices.
She never said anything of the fact of that Xbox made Oblivion. Wasn't said. Links in the description down below for Laura Fryer. Make sure you go give it a like. I'm just being funny because she referenced that game and then said from the time with the new how they make games. Yeah, but you're just making up stuff. That's not what she said. She said they have a big portfolio, and if they outsource it, they can just outsource it the games, which they did. It was successful. So if Oblivion's successful and they outsourced it, then they didn't put it on themselves. So they don't have to, you see what I'm saying? They don't have to make the actual games. They could be successful by getting other people to do it for them. It's a business. They want to make money. Why would you want to play Clockwork on a small screen? These types of games deserve a huge screen. It's just wherever you want to play it, though, Water. Right? It doesn't matter if it's on a small screen. It doesn't matter if it's on a big screen. It's wherever you, the gamer, want to play it. That's what they want. They want you to play the games where you want to play the games. Sarge says this could also be waiting for the 25th anniversary to release all the big boy games. That's a possibility. Oh, 100%. Fable will probably be for the 25th anniversary type of stuff. 100%. Also, it says, I can see Xbox future doing this partnership instead of Xbox Series 3, bring raw console or a phone with the Xbox skin on it, stuff like that. Yeah, because it's if they don't have to put the research and development to make these things, then they're saving a shit ton of money. They could throw money at a corporation that says, hey, yeah, we would like to partner up with you, make a handheld device, and it's an Xbox, right? Because you're playing Xbox games on it. It's an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox. That's their marketing. They don't care where you play. They just want you to pay a monthly fee to get Game Pass, which goes all the way back to what I said 6 years ago, if not longer, that Game Pass is the future. Okay? Game Pass is the future. Eclipse says, I think there's more people in other countries. There are also countries that are also mobiles are huge. Waterbear says, but most people who play mobile use their phones, right? Right. But at the same time, there are people that can buy it. So again, look, not everyone needs a blender, but if you want to buy a blender, go buy a blender. You see what I'm saying? What Xbox is doing is that they're making and teaming up with people to, maybe you don't have a console. Maybe you just bought a Samsung TV, right? My parents don't play video games. But at the same time, there's a console on their television set. So, like, when my son visits, he can play video games on that console, on the television, right? I can play games on the mobile phone. I'm not buying the phone to play games, but the game's there if I choose to use it. It's a probability, as Nintendo. This is why they runs the market. Nintendo is the market, right? A lot of these. Oh, you know what the market is actually, though, and I've said this before, Thomas. Is it's not just Nintendo, it's not just PlayStation, it's not just Xbox. It's all three of them. It's like you ever watch the new Willy Wonka, right? Where the three candy makers, they have like their own little club. They get to choose who comes on the block. That's Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. They decide when the industry decides what they're doing. They decide if we're going live service. They decide if we're going cloud. They decide if we're going digital. They decide. Right? Everyone thinks it's a PlayStation, Xbox against Nintendo. No. From our perspective, yeah, sure. Blue, red, green. Okay. That's marketed on purpose. But the industry itself is these companies working together to move the industry forward, and you just think that you're choosing Nintendo, or you think you're choosing the PlayStation, or you think you're using Xbox. Yeah, they're three separate companies, but they decide what the industry is going to do. So just because the Xbox studio is booming right now, for sure. Oh, yeah, with all the things they have. Fifth Horseman says there's a lot of games that require a screen at least as big as a tablet. I tried to play Starfield once on my phone, and not really playable. I need to add settings to support player on small. I played it on my mobile phone when I was traveling last year. You're right. It's the most conducive thing. You're not going to sit there for 20 hours playing on your mobile phone unless you have, like, I have a Max, right? I don't have a smaller phone, so I have the iPhone Max Pro, so it's a bigger screen. It wasn't terrible, but I wouldn't sit there for 20 hours playing it. But I also don't like playing a lot of mobile games, or on a mobile device, I should say. This is why I think the headset could be a seller for people, right? Altern the other day, like 4 days ago. Altern, where did you put that? Let me see if I can. From Altern. Altern put a. He put a picture the other day, and this is what people will probably buy, right? Give me a second. Let me find where he put it. Here it is. Okay, so this thing right here is the world's first supporting XR glasses. Okay, so what you're saying, Horseman, right? You don't want to play on a mobile device because it's too small. Well, they have glasses now that you can plug this glasses into this device, and it projects it inside the glasses. So inside the glasses itself, you're seeing a giant screen 120 inches, right? So you're playing on a mobile, but you're not looking at the mobile, right? You're using the controller as the controller, but you're looking straight ahead or wherever you want to look because it's AR, and it's seeing in there, and it's crystal clear, okay? And you're playing on a giant screen. Problem solved. Problem solved, right? But now you're like, well, now I got to buy these glasses. What is that, another $300 or so? Probably. You know what I mean? But that's it. More accessories. So think about this. We were just talking about ROG Ally. Well, ROG Ally, maybe they don't make money off of just the ROG Ally. They start selling accessories. Now you get the ROG Ally glasses. So if you don't want to use their small screen, you can plug this in, and then all of a sudden now you can see it on a bigger screen. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that they can do. I just don't think that the system will sell, but it's not going to sell like millions and millions of systems just because, one, we don't know the price yet. If the price is extremely high, it's not selling, okay? Collectors, streamers, stuff like that. If it's a good price for the lower tier, but the lower tier people will be like, it doesn't have enough storage, doesn't have enough battery life. But if it's $450, $500, same price as the Switch, that is a huge value for the white version because you can play Steam and Epic and Xbox Game Pass and EA on Game Pass and Ubisoft on Game Pass. So you have thousands and thousands of things that either you already own that can work on this device now. So that would be a selling. But for the majority of the people, are like, why am I buying this? I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation, I have a Nintendo, I have a PC. Why do I need this handheld device? So it says, I'm thinking about getting one, but it's between the Legion Go and the Xbox Ally. What between those two, I know nothing, Cisco. Between the Legion Go and the Xbox, what are you waiting for as far as, are you waiting for price? Is it the processor in there? Is it the battery life in there? Why are you looking at these? What are these two pros and cons of why you're going against them or putting them against each other? Right? Like right now, what are you waiting for? Legion Go, is it good enough right now? Do you need to wait to see what the Xbox Ally is doing? Are you waiting for the price? You already know what the Legion Go is, right? You don't know what the ROG Ally is. Silver says, I don't see many people picking this over a Switch 2. If you're a Nintendo person, there's no way in hell you're picking this up over a Switch 2. It's everybody else that's not a Nintendo person that can pick it up and they can play their games they already own on Switch or Epic or Battle.net, and they can play it all on the things there. Plus, if they're a Game Pass, plus if they're on Game Pass and they have EA Play, right? If they have Ubisoft Plus, there's a lot more value. If you buy a Nintendo Switch, okay, if you buy a Nintendo Switch, Silver, you're only getting Nintendo. So right now, brand new Nintendo Switch 2, you can play your old Nintendo games, and you could buy the new Nintendo games, which is not many, okay? But if you buy a Xbox ROG Ally, okay, at, let's say it's the same price, we don't know, the white version, I have all the games that I have for Steam, all the games I have for Epic, all the games that are on Game Pass. So when I buy the ROG Ally, I have hundreds, if not thousands, of games I can already play on. If I buy a Nintendo Switch 2, I could buy Mario Kart and whatever else I own. Pricing to see how well the OS runs on the Xbox Ally. I can get the Legion Go running Steam OS. There you go. So it says, not even a Nintendo person. What I hear, do I buy something to play games I already play, or do I buy console with new games? But there are new games on the ROG Ally. Anything that's on Steam that's new, you can play on that device. Anything that's on Epic that's new, you can buy and play on that device. Eclipse says, I definitely would if it was in a handheld market. Not even close. I mean, I can't even play the Switch games on it. Or you can. Or wait, you can't play the Switch games on it. Well, you can if you know what you're doing. Server says I can play Switch games on my Steam Deck. Correct. People can play if they know what they're doing. You can play the Nintendo games on the Steam Deck. Yeah. Right? And then, for instance, maybe you don't own a PlayStation, right? Their games, Spider-Man 2 just came on to Steam. Well, now I can play Spider-Man 2 on that handheld device. Can't do that on the Switch. And I don't need to own a PlayStation. Horseman says, I'm just going to stick with the console, maybe PC in the future. I don't need to play on the go or on the toilet. I think it's the same for most people. That's how I look at it, right? So when I'm on the go, Horseman, like I'm taking a trip next week, right? The only thing I bring with me is I'm going to bring my ROG Ally, for fuck's sake, my backbone, okay? I have a backbone that I put on the back of my phone. I'll use that while I'm maybe in the airport or on the plane, okay? When I'm at my location now, I just take my headset, my Meta Quest 2, okay, and I bring that with me. So wherever we are, I just hook up to the Wi-Fi, okay, put the headset on my head, and now I have a television set. I don't have to be in a room with a television set. I just have my television set. I have my computer. I have my games. I have everything on just a headset. So I just carry this thing. I mean, it's pretty big, right? But I just take this with me, and this is the whole system right here. I don't need anything else. Right? Much easier, right? I don't need to carry my Xbox with me or anything like that. I have access to my PC. I have access to my games. Right? I could play Steam Link. I could play whatever. I just link over the internet. Right? So I have a situation where my parents come and stay at my house. So I tell them, hey, can you turn on my computer? And then, boom, I have access to it from across the world. So if I have to work, if I want to edit, if I want to do something, boom, I can do it. Super simple. That's specifically for me. But yeah, cell phone does it. Cell phone does it. I don't need to buy a big, bulky handheld device to play all this stuff because I can use Steam Link through my phone as well. In my house, if I don't want to be in the office and I want to sit on the couch and play games, I can do that as well. It's always interesting. It's always interesting. People think you need like everything, but you don't. Imagine combining the Meta Quest with the Starlink internet while traveling. You can literally play Xbox everywhere with a good internet. Yeah, the Starlink would be great. Can you imagine if they did a... Think about this, Altern. What about if Meta synced up with Starlink and they built a Starlink inside the headset of the Meta itself? It would be optional, where the headset actually, you pay for the Starlink. If you have a Starlink, it's already included in the headset, and now you can just Starlink directly to your headset. Anyone wants to guess the price on the DOW Remake Plus expansion? The Steam placeholder is there, just no price. I think it's all hardware is a waste. What's really going to change things is the advancements in communications, which I've said as well. I said it about a year and a half ago. I said 6 to 7 years. It'll be all cloud, not all cloud, but cloud would be the majority. And now we have about 5 years left, 5.5 years left to see if I'm correct or not. El Dente says, Starlink butt plug with your purchase of the Xbox Series Meta Starlink X mobile headset. That's a mouthful, huh? That's a mouthful. Can you imagine? Hold on one second. I'm trying to see something. Now, that would be a big next leap of big partnership. It 100% would. You can just put that down, right? There you go. Boom. Starlink linked up with whoever. That's what's going to happen. All right, let's look over to Twitter, see if anything else is happening on Twitter this morning. Wednesday, give me 1 second. Wednesday morning, there will not be a stream. Wednesday morning will not be a stream. I have a dentist appointment I have to go to on Wednesday. So this Wednesday, 2 days from now, I will not have a stream. My appointment's at 10:50 in the morning. So I need to get it done before I go on my vacation. So there's not going to be a stream on Wednesday morning. Maybe I'll do one after, maybe, but not up for it right now. So Wednesday, no stream. Tomorrow there's a stream. Tonight there's a stream. So tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow night, Wednesday morning, no. Wednesday night, yes. And then Thursday as normal as well. And then next week, I'm leaving on Sunday. This Sunday coming up, I'll be leaving on vacation, and I'll be gone all of next week, all the following week, right? So I'm gone for 8 days. So I leave on the 6th, and I come back on the 14th, which is a Monday. So there'll be no Monday stream on the 14th. All right, let me see what's happening here. There's still no sign of Star Citizen 1.0. They also revamped a referral program, the diehards, and also tempted to even more. There's still no sign of Star Citizen 1.0. Altern says Meta is now investing more on the AR Ray-Bans, AR glasses. So imagine if the Meta is able to add Xbox on those glasses and Bluetooth to hook up on your controller, Starlink internet built in. I messed around with some of those Ray-Bans this weekend where they did there was no AR, but they had the cameras in them, and video quality is really good. Really good. So you're going to see a lot more first-person like shorts from people from TikTok or whatever, because the glasses are really good as far as that. Also, what I thought was really cool is that if you wear those glasses, it does translation for you instantaneously. So there was a woman next to me that was speaking Spanish, and it was communicating and all of a sudden making it in English in my head instantaneously. I was like, holy shit, that was cool. That's a huge thing. So if you wore those glasses and were traveling or whatnot, and you could speak to somebody, then 100% they just talking to you and you would be able to understand them. That's huge. That's huge. I'm excited to see the finished product of what Project Orion from Meta will be. I don't know what that is. Let's see here. Rematch Dev talks ball specifically, how to balance the ball feels with function. There's also a basic brick of the game. It's like an atomic component, whatever that is. I'll take that and put it into the news stories for tomorrow. I don't know what he's talking about there. 7. Oh, AR glasses? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, AR will take off way before VR. If I can walk around and see a virtual world, like just a screen and whatnot, but I can still see transparently through stuff, much better. Alternate, it's going to be like $1,000. It doesn't matter. Remember when Google Glass came out? Those were expensive as fuck. Google Glass, remember that? And that was a test. Ooh. Jurassic World Rebirth opts to follow the original Jurassic Park structure as more of a remix. Someone saw it, and I guess they're giving it a 5. Oh, it's IGN. IGN gave it a 5. 5GN. I thought they were 7GN. $5GN. Fortnite. Gather a squad. Check out Lego Fortnite Expeditions. Team up and take on a mission. Check the hero classes, new weapons, and more. I don't know what that is. I gotta check that out. Maybe we'll check that out tonight, maybe. Oh, I saw a game. It's called Crosswinds. I think it's called Crosswinds. It's a pirate survival game. I like my survival games. It's a pirate one. You get to actually build a ship and like drive the ship around. It actually looks much better than Skull and Bones did. They have a early beta going on right now. Alternate says it'll eventually go down in price. Look at the Meta Quest 3 at $300, and others VRs are $1,000. The Ray-Ban ones are like $349 right now, but there's no AR in them. Yeah, I signed up too. Water. I was watching a bunch of people play it. I was like, it looks interesting. When he got into the boat, I was like, oh, you get your own pirate ship. And actually, the mechanics seem pretty good, pretty solid for shooting and whatnot. This is a new commercial.
Anywhere you want. That's why we're investing in our next generation hardware lineup across console.
No, it's the same thing. Okay. Same thing. Paul Tassi has an article. It says, pick your lane. Former Xbox executive question is currently strategy. Oh, is he talking about Laura? Yeah, he's talking about Laura Fryer. He wrote an article about Laura Fryer's video. I always think it's funny. Like, obviously, we watch Laura Fryer's video just to get her thoughts and opinion, but to take something from a person that worked for the company and say, like, well, they don't like it, so this is bad for Xbox. Like, well, she doesn't work for the company anymore. She's just giving her insight, right? Like, they do this with Sean Layden a lot. Like, whatever Sony does, they get Sean Layden's opinion on it. And obviously, like, he's not at the company anymore, so it doesn't really matter what he thinks or what they're doing. Dude, right now, you can get Star Wars Battlefront 2 for $4 on PC. But make sure you're careful with that because, what's it called? There's a bunch of hacking going on the Star Wars. There's a bunch of assholes doing some hacking on there. Sarge says she did pick her lane. Xbox hasn't picked a lane. Oh, did you guys hear this? Right, so real quick, last week we talked about Hytale. Hytale was this game like Minecraft, and they got closed down by Riot Games. Well, now the guy who was originally Hytale's CEO, he sold it to Riot, but now Riot owns the license and they closed it down. Now he wants to buy it back from Riot. Now, it's a long shot, but he's actually thinking about buying for $20 million, I think it's $20 or $25 million. He wants to buy the game back from Riot and then continue making the game. So he's going to try to bring the game back. He said he might do some like crowdfunding or whatever. It's just funny. They were by themselves, bought out by Riot. Riot made them switch the engine and now closed the entire thing down. It's for Hytale. Hytale, that game that was like Minecraft that I showed on here a couple times, Water. Yeah, $20 million. They want to buy it. They want to buy it back from Riot. Here's an article from GameStop that says Xbox has no desire to make hardware anymore. Founding team member says they're taking Laura Fryer and writing an article off of her video, right? Has no desire to make hardware anymore. Again, that's her quote, not someone that's at Xbox right now. Jez Gordon says Microsoft just literally announced new hardware. As someone who hasn't been there for over a decade, saying they're not going to make hardware, right? He's making a comment of Laura Fryer. Generally thinking some people just want to see Xbox fail. I have no idea why. Just believe the latter otherwise. I mean, here, I said my opinion 6 years ago when I said everyone's like, Xbox is dead. Xbox is dead. And I said, no, Xbox is not dead. They're just not competing in consoles anymore. And I said for the longest time on my podcast, on other people's podcasts, I said the entire time that Xbox's game plan is to do Game Pass. They want their game, like their app. Okay, now they've changed it where it's still the app, but it's Windows or whatnot, but it's Game Pass. I said they want their games everywhere. Everywhere. And I literally have been saying this for years. I've had so many people tell me I was 100% wrong. They're not doing that. That's not the future. That's not what it is. You don't know what you're talking about. You're full of shit, right? And this is all from people from other podcasts that I was on my own podcast when people watched it in the past. And here we are. Here we are in 2025. And finally, Xbox apparently has seen my vision for their own company for what they're trying to do, which is put games everywhere. Doesn't matter if you play it on a television set. Doesn't matter if you play it on a mobile phone. Doesn't matter if you play it on a console. Doesn't matter if you're playing it on PlayStation. Okay? There's actually one time, I believe, when I was on Lono's channel, that I said that they would probably try to start putting games on Xbox on other platforms. I said Game Pass, but I said they would put their games on other platforms, and I was told that wasn't going to happen either. Now, they didn't put Game Pass on the other two platforms, but they have started putting games on the Xbox, on PlayStation, and on the Nintendo Switch. But who's keeping tabs? They did announce new hardware. I think the question is if they were making it themselves or not. They were making their own handheld, which I thought was stupid, by the way. And now they canceled it, supposedly. So it was supposedly they were making one, and supposedly it's canceled. I said it was stupid to make their own. I said they would make one with somebody else, and then they did. I just hope Game Pass doesn't go to $39.99 a month. That's when it's time to cancel. That would be mine's 25. 25 I would have to start thinking after 25. That's still still a better deal than buying a $80 game. Right? You wouldn't own anything. You're paying $40 a month, but if that's what you're doing, if that's what you as the person that's playing video games, if you're playing enough video games for that price, why not? That's still half off of one game for 1 month, and you are buying more than one game a month. Okay. This is 100% 41% right here. Okay, hold on a second. This is 41%. This is 41%. She thinks she's cleaning the sign. Okay, she thinks she's cleaning the sign. That's a scrolling text, not a conveyor belt. Okay. Okay. Dear Lord. Is she high? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Fucking. El Dente says, I can't explain the fury that came over me seeing that. Oh, God damn it. Someone's like, and she's our hardest worker. Okay. If you say so. She cleans that thing every day. That one spot on that board. And do you see the issue here? Because if she just did this, that would be clean. But she thinks she's working smarter, but she's not working at all. Right? She thinks she's cleaning the whole thing as it goes across. She's like, I'm working smarter. You're not. You're not. Oh, what is this? Sony. PlayStation Store price hikes kick off early as Sony continues to maximize profitability. Are they raising their prices? Or is it just everyone's raising the prices to $80? I'm confused. I'll read this tomorrow. I just saw it, so we're going to put that over. We're going to put that over into the Discord. They want to bring in Tom Holland as James Bond. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Tom Holland is not James Bond. He doesn't look like James Bond. He looks like a little boy. Yeah, he's tiny Bond. He's mini Bond. Mini Bond. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? James Bond Jr. You think she would feel her broom to having resistance or something? Horseman says the fumes from the cleaning supplies got to her. I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Can you imagine? You're the boss. You're walking around. You're like, Sarah, that is... never mind. Good job. Good job. All right. Then as you walk away, you're like, we got to get rid of Sarah. We got to get rid of Sarah. Why? She's the hardest worker we've got. She was just standing there on the scroll. They're like, oh, well, we can't find anybody else to replace her. So, all right, let's give her a bonus. Let's give her a raise instead. Let's give her a raise. Waterbear says GTA 6, $279. Regular version, $700 for the collector's edition. Water would say, I just say, nice job. Make sure you get the other stuff as well. Yeah, but that's the problem. I would. See, me, Water, I would walk up to her and I would show her and go, you do know that's not moving, right? I'd be like, this actually is, you have to clean the surface of the thing. Altered says, Sarah's making a mistake. If she works at Disney, she'll be a manager of cleaning staff. She would be the top spot. She would actually get a raise, benefits. It's actually better if you just tell her not to work and tell other people. And then when she said, don't do any training, though. Don't do any training. Just show people, like, tell them what to clean. She'd be like, here's a little secret. When I used to clean, you just put this up there and let the thing go by. And then the person she's training would look at her and go, holy shit. Holy shit. Does she think this thing moves? They would be so confused. They're like, how is she manager? Maybe it would motivate them. It would motivate them. Water Bear says if she worked at Disney, maybe she could also give the Marvel heads some ideas, because apparently they've run out of all of them. Well, I don't know if maybe she's a really good writer. Maybe she's a really shitty cleaner. Maybe she's a great writer. How long does she stay there for? I'm just thinking about that. If she's cleaning it, does she know it comes back around? Does she just keep it up there for a couple minutes, seconds? She's like, okay, all right, that went around, it came back through, it's clean. Do you know what I mean? And then she stands back and she looks at it and everything's filthy except for that one spot. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, how does that work? These are the things I wonder about when I log out. These are the things that happens. All right. No other stories right now, so we're going to call it there. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for some gaming. I don't know what game we're going to be playing, but there'll be gaming tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern over on 30 and Still Gaming. Make sure you go check out some of the past broadcasts. If you missed anything, you can also watch the past broadcasts of Chatting With our guest last week called The Real Life Fake Wizard. If you watch his content, we interviewed him. So go check out that. And also check out the last episode over of GXG, which are both these episodes are over on Spotify, Anchor.fm, iTunes, Google Play, any place that you get podcasts is heard. You can go listen or watch those. Appreciate it very much. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic. magic to your hand. Infinity Dune daily, don't you miss? Entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss? Entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix.